It is time for some mind over chatter, which is exactly what happens here on the Rush Limbaugh program. It's Friday.
And now, from sunny South Florida, it's Open Line Friday.
And there are probably a lot of people today who don't know what Open Line Friday is. For you insiders, for those of you who are regular, for those of you who have been here for all 23 plus years, 24 years in August, please indulge me while I explain this to the new arrivals. First, here's the telephone number for everybody. You want to be on the program, 800-282-2882. The email address, and we checked the email now, and although it's so voluminous, had to add servers to handle it. lrushball@eibnet.com. Okay, here's how it works. As you know, this program is a benevolent dictatorship. I'm the dictator. There is no First Amendment here, except for me. I determine, along with my screener staff, who gets to say what on, well, actually, Monday through Thursday, that's the way. On Friday, we throw all that out. That's the whole point. Monday through Thursday, we talk about things I care about. Otherwise, I'm going to sit here and be bored, and nobody is going to want to listen to that. And Friday, we throw all that out, as I say, and I take one of the greatest risks known in major media ever, and that is turning over the content of the program when we go to the phones, we start taking calls, to the audience, to rank amateurs. I, as you know, am a highly trained broadcast specialist with tremendous broadcast instincts. And the audience is not. We love them. They are rank amateurs, but they are as lovable rank amateurs you'll find anywhere. And the thing on Friday is that whatever you want to talk about is okay. If you think something has gotten short shrift, if you think something hasn't been discussed that needs to be, if you have a question or it can be about sports, it can be about whatever. That's the whole point of Open Line Friday. It can be politics, too. It can be cultural rot. It can be whatever. I've always thought it's a golden opportunity for those who feel restricted by subject matter Monday through Thursday. So again, telephone numbers 800-282-2882. The email address lrushball@eibnet.com. Also, I normally don't get to phone calls in the first hour on this program, sometimes barely into the second hour. Try to speed that up on Friday. Try to take phone calls, start taking phone calls in the first hour, which almost never happens. I mean, it does occasionally, but rarely. So that's another thing about Friday. We'll probably take more phone calls than we usually do. There's an interesting story to start with today. This is a Politico story, and it's out last night. Obviously, this story was written before this morning's unemployment report came out. Now, the unemployment number, what is it? 8.3%. No change. And you would not believe the way this is being reported, why we are in a roaring back economy. We have got a recovery that's unprecedented. I don't care where you... Have you noticed it, Dawn? No, I mean the reporting. Wherever you look, on radio, television, and print, you would believe that we are sitting atop the greatest powder keg of an economic recovery that there ever has been. It is universal. And folks addressed yesterday the reason that there seems to be back and forth, up and down mood changes in this country. Really, if the media in this country were as suspicious of Democrats as they are of Republicans, if the media treated powerful Democrats with the same suspicion and curiosity and doubt and, dare I say, dislike and hatred as they treat Republicans, you'd have an entirely different media landscape. You'd have an entirely different national mood. I mean, it'd be profoundly different. But that's not the way it is. The media is now just willing accomplices of the Democrat Party, and particularly Barack Obama. And so you get a distorted view of life in America as seen by and reported by the vast majority of what's called the mainstream media. We call them here the drive-by media, the state-controlled media. And today is a great example. No matter where you look, this 8.3% unemployment and all the robust other economic news that isn't happening is being reported as it's an abject lie, basically, the stories. Here are some sample headlines just from Google. Unemployment steady at 8.3%, but job market improving. That's U.S. News and World Report. How can that be? How can unemployment not have gone down? How can there not be any new jobs, but the job market's improving? Economy adds more jobs than experts forecast. Some FM radio station. Economy adds more jobs than experts forecast? For those of you just tuning in, the experts in economic matters are always wrong because every week, every month, whatever reporting period, the experts are always surprised. The experts are always shocked. Hiring up, unemployment steady, economists upbeat. Christian Broadcast Network, CBN. U.S. adds 227,000 jobs in February, Orange County Register. If we added 227,000 jobs, why did the unemployment rate stay at 8.3%? Well, you have to get, here's the number. If you want to return unemployment to 6%, which it was roughly there the year prior to Obama being immaculated, you're going to need 600,000 new jobs a month for years to be created. But that's the point. There's a new normal here that's been defined, and this is it. 8.1, 8.3% unemployment. That's the new normal. That's why we're celebrating. The new normal has to be defined in such a way by the media so that it is not in any way detrimental to Obama. You know, we're down here from 9.5, 9.9, 9.3%, so that's how this looks good. New normal. Just remember, folks, in 2005, 2006, unemployment in this country was at 5% under the hated, despised, and dreaded George W. Bush. Job growth remains brisk in February. Healthcare continues to lead employment growth, thehill.com. Employment growth grows solidly for third straight month. So the new normal is more than twice as high as unacceptable unemployment under Bush. The new normal, what the media says is just fine. What the media says is a roaring economy. What the media says is a steady economic upbeat. What the media says is job market improving. What the media says is brisk job growth. 8.3% unemployment is more than twice as high as what was unacceptable unemployment during George W. Bush. So, the Politico story. The headline, Obama's new hurdle. Jobs report optimism. President Obama has a new challenge with the jobs report due out Friday. Rising expectations. Oh, the poor guy. What a real challenge. Several months of improving numbers filtered through an election year prism have bolstered Obama's standing, but also have fueled anticipation that the employment outlook will continue to improve. If new jobs aren't added at the same rate, Obama's political opponents will attack him for not doing enough to sustain the economy. This is the Politico writing for a third-grade anti-bullying class. Obama's political opponents will attack him for not doing enough. If they go up, he'll almost certainly be slammed for the economy not improving enough. And if they tick down, or the unemployment rate rises, expect searing attacks about a president leading the country into a double-dip recession. Poor Obama. Boo-hoo. He just can't catch a break. Even the news media talking up the economy for him might backfire on him. Oh, yeah. It's so fraught with danger out there for Obama. Why, even if his sycophant, slavish media talk up the economy, that might backfire. Remember how the media fretted about all the problems of perception that President Bush faced? Right, we don't either. So obviously, this piece in the Politico, from which I was just reading, was written before this morning's unemployment report came out, and it is clear that the news media and the rest of the Obama campaign were sweating bullets over this number. You remember how the media fretted about all the problems of perception that Bush faced? Poor Obama, he can't catch a break. These venal Republicans are just waiting to pounce on any uptick in the jobless rate. Those bullies. You notice that everything Republicans do is venal. Everything is calculated for political advantage. Everything is done to try to harm our little boy President Barack Obama. Republicans never have the country's interests at heart like Obama does. In fact, this article sounds like the Obama campaign was using the Politico to tell their lick-spittle minions in the news media to dial back their boosterism a little bit. Sounds to me like this whole story is the White House calling politicals, hey, dial it back. We don't want to make it sound too good out there. I mean, there's going to be a couple of dips between now and the election. It can't be that because we got this poll from Greenberg, don't forget. Stanley Greenberg, James Carville's partner, big-time Democrat pollster, last couple of weeks puts the poll out. So, Mr. President, don't go to town on this big story of a reviving, roaring back economy because it isn't going to work. They're not feeling it. The reason a story based on a virtual economic recovery won't work is because people are living in the economy and they don't have jobs. And the jobs they're getting are not career jobs. A lot of the jobs that were added in this report are people taking second jobs. Our old buddy, the old reliable James Pethokoukis, occasionally is published at Reuters. We'll forgive him for that. Also a scholar at the American Enterprise Institute. Says if you're going to compare, let's compare apples to apples. If the labor force participation rate were the same today as it was when Obama took office, the unemployment rate today would be 10.8%, not 8.3%. What does that mean? What is the labor force participation? Every time I try to explain this, I am met with people who tell me I'm wrong and don't know what I'm talking about and that it's irrelevant. But Mr. Pethokoukis continues to report it. The labor force participation rate is essentially the entire universe of jobs available in the country. And there are over 2 million less jobs, 2 million fewer jobs. They just don't exist anymore. Whereas there used to be an ABC window washer outfit, for example, when Obama was immaculated in 2009, the place is shut down. So the ABC window washer jobs are gone. That is why people talk about creating new jobs. If we need to create new jobs, we need new jobs. It means there are fewer jobs to fill. So if the same number of jobs existed, if all the ABC window washer outfits had not closed down, if they were still open and those jobs were still available, based on current numbers, the actual unemployment rate would be 10.8%, not 8.3%. So the universe of available jobs matters. There is no way you can tell me that the American economy with 2 million fewer jobs today than 3 years ago is any way upbeat. Is anyway, you've got the same number of people looking for fewer jobs. That's why the percentage changes. The same number of people looking for fewer jobs. Like musical chairs. Every time the music stops, somebody's left out because there aren't enough chairs. It's the same principle here. So the 8.3% unemployment rate is meaningless. It's bogus because we're not comparing apples to apples. Part of the Obama economic record is that there are 2 million fewer ABC window washer jobs than there were when he was immaculated in 2009.
For your convenience, broadcasting almost 100% in English with just a little Spanish lingo. Rush on the EIB network. Now, you can drive your SUV guilt-free.
You can buy carbon offsets from EIB and continue to drive whatever you want to drive. Just don't change anything. We'll handle it for you.
Don't ask about the details.
Just trust us.
No need to change your affluent lifestyle.
We will take steps here at the EIB network to reduce carbon footprints so that yours can remain as large as you want it to be.
All this is yours for 4 easy payments of $25,000.
All you have to do is pay us, say $100,000.
Hurry, this offer ends soon.
$100,000 and you can live guilt-free.
Watch the sitcom everybody in the media is talking about. Leave It to Barry, the daily story of that cute, cuddly kid who's wormed his way into America's heart.
Hey, mister, where's the office of the president-elect?
There isn't one.
Yes, it's always one laugh after another, with Tom Daschle as Eddie Hassel.
This is the best healthcare plan ever, 'cause it's only 1 page long. Double-spaced. Just sign here. We'll work out the details later.
Nancy Pelosi is the loving mother of the country.
Hey, Mom, can I, okay, never mind.
Harry Reid is the kindly old neighbor next door.
You tourists stink.
And Barack Obama as the Barry.
We will help people who haven't paid their mortgages by giving them another 90 days, not to pay them. Blagojevich? Who's Blagojevich?
Leave It to Barry every day right here after Paulson and Frank, the odd couple. All across America, progressive teachers are helping children to sing alike and think alike. Now, you can get the album that started it all, Kids Songs of the Revolution.
These time-tested songs in the original German will bring our country's youth together to do great things. With songs like my favorite, One Leader Forever.
Steht eine junge Eiche, sie strebt zur Sonne auf trotz Sturm und Not.
Kids just can't stand still when they hear hope is in the air. They'll really be marching to a different drummer with the classic Change is Here.
Kids Songs of the Revolution, available at Acorn, Ahmadinejad.com, and teachers' unions everywhere.
Kids, tell your parents to get yours today before the economy collapses or healthcare implodes and the world burns up from global warming.
Kid Songs of the Revolution. Indoctrination hasn't been this much fun since 1933.
When I was 14, I had our band name tattooed on my forehead, but I didn't know how to spell maroon. I felt like such an outcast until the Liberty Tattoo Removal Program.
People with tattoos often find themselves being unfairly stereotyped, making it difficult to find employment or to move up in life. But why pay for costly tattoo removal when you can participate in the Liberty Tattoo Removal Program?
Lisa and I were really in love. You know, the forever kind. So I had her name tattooed on my behind. Then there was Cindy, Barbara, Kathy Jo, Joanne, Judy, and a lot of others. Now, thanks to the Liberty Tattoo Removal Program, Tammy here won't be jealous anymore.
That's candy.
Right.
Now, thanks to Representative Lois Capps, you can change your life for absolutely nothing.
Now that I have a brighter future, I'm going to start brushing my teeth.
Your tax dollars at work with the federally funded Liberty Tattoo Removal Program.
Here's a great illustration of that I was just discussing. Along the lines of what I was just talking about, there was a Reuters report from yesterday. U.S. jobless claims rise, but labor market healing. More people applied for unemployment checks, but the labor market is healing. Healing. Think you would ever get a definition like that of healing with a Republican in the White House? Jobless claims rise, country going to hell would be the headline if George W. Bush were in the Oval Office. Reuters said the number of Americans filing for jobless benefits unexpectedly rose last week. Damn it. But not enough to change perceptions that the labor market was strengthening. That's how the story opens. This is journalistic malpractice. This is utter irresponsibility. This is what we're up against, folks. It has always been this way. I'm spending a little bit more detail on this stuff that you know left and right for our new audience arrivals this week. This is actually a golden opportunity. The left has driven so many new bodies here that it would be foolish not to take advantage of their arrival. So please indulge me as we go back to the first grade for some of them. And I don't mean that in an insulting way. I mean, first grade for you was 23 years ago. You now are super-duper graduate students here at the Limbaugh Institute. The first-day arrivals are essentially the first grade. The number of Americans filing for jobless benefits unexpectedly rose last week, but are not enough to change perceptions that the labor market was strengthening. Not one perception is cited. We don't know whose perceptions we're talking about here other than the info babe or the reporter, whoever, who wrote the story with tongue hanging out, eager and panting away for Obama's success. I'm going to say this is so blatantly one-sided. This kind of stuff would make the old Soviet commissars blush. If our media existed in Russia today and they reported on Putin this way, Putin would call them and say, look, you guys, you got to hit me now and then. Otherwise, nobody's going to end up believing what you say. You can't continue with this nonstop love affair with me. You got to dislike me now and then. You got to criticize me now and then. This is getting embarrassing. Khrushchev would say that. Even Mikhail Gorbachev would say that. Certainly Putin, certainly KGB. Obama probably says, keep it up. The number of Americans filing for jobless benefits unexpectedly rose. Means there were more of them. Went up. But not enough to change perceptions. The labor market's strengthening. This is their revised story. Payrolls up solidly. Jobless rate at 8.3%. Employment grew solidly for a third straight month in February, a sign the economic recovery was broadening and in less need of further monetary stimulus from the Federal Reserve. Oh, thank the Lord. We don't need, now thanks to Reuters, we don't need any more stimulus. We don't need any more federal spending because finally, all that Obama spending finally kicking in a little late, but starting to work now. Obama's policies are creating jobs. That's the big lie. We'll be back.
Now, something new yet familiar to everyone. It's Ron Artest.
Hey, yo, fool. Stop with the old school rap and bust it with the now. You gotta do representing for me, Ron Artest.
Word up to all peeps, some fresh tracks been laying down.
What up? This Ron Artest, busting out with the soft with some old school oldies with a fresh twist. Ain't no suspension long enough. There ain't no fines that are big enough. Ain't no jail term long enough to keep me from beating on you.
And I really mean hits.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Gonna find out what it means to me. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. You better not be dissing me, yo.
Spreading the love.
Peeps all over the world, join hands, make a love train or beat your brain.
True warrior even does Streisand.
Peeps who beat other peeps are the happiest peeps in the world.
Ron Artest does the oldies with a fresh twist and a clenched fist.
He's a jolly good fella, and I'm a jolly good fella. We're all jolly good felons, and if you don't agree, you'll die.
Getting real.
Baby, 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 where did my pay go? Endorsements done left me now. I need me a new loan, you know?
Run our test, oldies with a fresh twist. From Concussion Records.
Yeah, we put the con back in concussion.
Available at NBA games and bail bondsmen everywhere.
True that.
And now, the President of the United States on the Keystone Pipeline.
My fellow Americans and environmentalists, today I have decided to deny permission to build the Keystone Pipeline because it would have linked one of the largest known oil reserves directly to our country. Now, my own Jobs Council said that continuing to deliver inexpensive and reliable energy is going to require the United States to optimize all of its natural resources and construct pathways to deliver electricity and fuel. But how else will we ever end our dependence on oil if we still have some? Just when my administration had gasoline prices approaching those of Europe, Republicans came up with the bright idea of piping in more of the oily grease stuff to sabotage me. You know, sometimes my children want things that ultimately won't be good for them either. And these high-paying jobs that Republicans want are not the right kind of jobs that we need right now in our economy. I remain committed to focusing like a laser on finding another 20,000 jobs, somewhere.
And now, back to America's most scintillating talk show, The Tom Daschle Show.
Tom Daschle! Welcome back to America's most scintillating talk show, The Tom Daschle Show. I'm Tom Daschle, and I tell you, I am excited about our new network of over 6 whole stations. So, watch out, Limbaugh. We're coming after you here on the Tom Daschle Show. Now, I've got a very special guest on our newsmaker line, John F. Kerry. Let's give him a hand. Welcome, John, to the Tom Daschle Show.
Thank you, Tom.
Now, John and I go way back. He has stood his ground for liberals everywhere. He's voted against tax cuts, defense budgets, school choice, you name it.
Let's don't talk about that right now.
And don't be shy, John.
Well, I also voted for those things before I voted against them.
You and I know how you really feel.
No, Tom. I'm running for president.
Huh?
I'm running for president.
Maybe we should talk about some targeted tax cuts after we break for these important commercial messages. Now the lights have gone out here on the Tom Daschle Show. My mic's off. Could you turn my mic back on? Is there a problem? What do you mean we're out of money?
Open Line Friday, great to have you, Rush Limbaugh, serving humanity simply by showing up. Now, the reason I've spent time on this is that everything that I'm explaining to you about the media lying about misreporting unemployment news happens in virtually every other story they do. And for those of you new to the program, the real purpose of this program is to create the largest number of informed voting participants in the country, in the arena of ideas. That's how we believe in effecting change here, is at the ballot box. And an informed number of people voting equals a mandate when their elections result in victories. And that's what this is really all about. So much disinformation in the media that I believe there really are a number of Americans who have been led to believe whole lies, untruths. And it's frustrating. And it's maddening at the same time. Because we have a business here that has a constitutional charter. The media, they have, in the eyes of our founders, a key role in maintaining liberty and freedom in this country. They've now become participants in an effort to erode freedom and liberty among individuals and transfer it to government. It's a very hideous thing. And we simply like to illustrate how it works so that when you watch media, read media, you're more equipped and better equipped to be skeptical yourself, to be doubting yourself. Find out for yourself, because most of the time, the mainstream media, what you're told is propaganda or a variation of it. It's just part of the agenda orientation of the Democrat Party. It's true, and there's no more complicated way to say it than that. Another example from the Reuters story on unemployment and the economy. Hiring up solidly. Hiring up solidly, yet the jobless rate holds steady, 8.3%. How does that happen? Well, Reuters explains in the story that the unemployment rate held at the 3-year low of 8.3% because more people returned to the labor force. Now, isn't that a handy excuse? What that means, the labor force doesn't mean that those are people that found jobs. The unemployment rate consists of people who are looking for jobs. There is another unemployment number for people who've looked so long they've given up. What you hear, this number, 8.3%, the government calls the U3 number. But there is a number that is also reported called the U6. The U3 number is made up simply of people who are receiving unemployment checks who are actively looking for a job and can't find one. The U6 number includes all those people plus those who have exceeded their 99 weeks of unemployment and have given up. The number that's reported, the 8.3, does not include the number of people who can't find work after 99 weeks and have given up. However, some of those people do re-enter the job market. Not with jobs, but by looking for jobs. Remember, you look for a job, you are counted as being unemployed if you don't have one. Well, what Reuters is saying here, even though a lot of people got hired, you people screwed it up because you came back from not looking for a job to looking for a job. More people returned to the labor force. So the administration, via Reuters, is now blaming people for looking for work to explain why unemployment's not going down. And again, it's the same universe of numbers, the labor force participation rate that Pethokoukis talked about earlier. It's all coming into focus now. So Reuters' explanation, we got people being hired left and right. Why are jobs being created left and right? What's the problem? Why is it staying at 8 point? Well, because people who previously had given up are now back in the market looking for work. Damn it, that means they've got to be counted. Damn it, and that means the unemployment rate stays at 8.3% when it ought to be coming down. Damn it. So you people who were out of work and quit looking for jobs now have decided to start looking for jobs. You're the ones that are screwing up Obama's economic report. Because if you would just stay out of work and not come back to the labor force looking for jobs, we could get that number down to 8.1%. Now, you don't care about Obama. No, you're so selfish you have to come back to the labor market, start looking for work, and that's why we can't lower the unemployment number. And I am not making up a word of that. I may be adding, shall we say, verve and color to the way I explain it, but everything I told you is factually true. And Reuters here explains the unemployment rate held at a 3-year low because more people returned to the labor force. So that's that. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reports that there are 12.8 million unemployed persons. When Obama's stimulus bill passed, there were 12.5 million unemployed persons. Obama spent over $1 trillion to lose an additional 0.3 million jobs. That's almost as impressive as awarding $10 million to some outfit to create a $50 light bulb. That story is coming up. You ever noticed the Democrats are always said to be the ones who care about the little guy? The Democrats, the American left, they're the ones that really have the compassion for the poor, for the near poor, for the lower middle class, the downtrodden, the stomped upon, the hungry, the thirsty, the women that can't get contraception at law school. That's who the Democrat Party cares for. The Republicans, of course, want them to be poor. They want them to be downtrodden. They want them to be hungry. They want them to be thirsty. The Republicans want all that. Democrats love them. Democrats care for them. Right. So what happens? The Democrats get in gear and come up with a car that's going to save the planet. But you have to buy it. Problem is, this party that cares so much about the little guy ends up creating a car that costs $50,000 that nobody wants. So they have to pay you $10,000 in the form of tax credit to buy it. Or they have decided that the light bulb, as invented by Thomas Edison, is also destroying the climate, is destroying the planet. We got to get rid of it. We have to replace it with something called compact fluorescents, which are filled with mercury, which is a chemical and hazard in your home if one of them breaks. And those things cost through the roof. Isn't it amazing how all of these wonderful creations and inventions to save the planet and to protect the little guy from big business and big Republicans end up breaking their bank when they have to go out and buy them? Light bulb, $50 for a light bulb to save the planet? Who do you think benefits from that? Even with all the manipulations of the workforce, the regime still has failed to stop the longest streak of 8+% unemployment since the Great Depression. Investors Business Daily is pointing out today that the United States is stuck in the longest jobs recession since the Great Depression. Now measure that against all of this happy, joyous, boy, we're roaring back stuff that you get in the rest of the media. Investors Business Daily. America stuck in the longest jobs recession since the Great Depression. It has been 49 months since the United States hit peak employment back in January of 2008. That's a year before Obama was elected. The average job recovery time since the Jimmy Carter recession of 1980 is 29 months, not including this current period. The labor market will not return to health until some 10 million new positions are created to rehire all of those who lost their jobs and to absorb the new workers. But as we mentioned yesterday, under Obama, the country has lost 2 million jobs. The labor force participation rate, there are 2 million fewer jobs in America today than there were when Obama was inaugurated. And the labor market will not return to health until some 10 million jobs are created. And we're going the opposite direction. We are losing jobs. There is no massive uptick in employment. There's no massive downturn in unemployment. It is all a lie. It's all a carefully crafted story designed to make you think that something that is happening or is not happening is. It's Alice in Wonderland. It really is journalistic malpractice. I got to take another time out, and we will continue when we get back. Don't go away.
He makes it look easy, but it's not. Rush on the EIB network. Now, something new yet familiar to everyone. It's Ron Artest.
Hey, no fool. Stop with the old school rap and bust it with the now. You gotta do representing for me, Ron Artest.
Word up to all peeps. Some fresh tracks been laying down.
What up? This Ron Artest. Busting out with the soft with some old school oldies with a fresh twist. Ain't no suspension long enough. There ain't no fines that are big enough. Ain't no jail term long enough to keep me from beating on you.
And I really mean hits.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Gonna find out what it means to me. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. You better not be dissing me, yo.
Spreading the love.
Peeps all over the world, join hands. Make a love train or I'll beat your brain.
True warrior even does Streisand.
Peeps. Peeps who breed other peeps are the happiest peeps in the world.
Ron Artest does the oldies with a fresh twist and a clenched fist.
He's a jolly good fella, and I'm a jolly good fella. We are jolly good felons, and if you don't agree, you'll die.
Getting real.
Baby, 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 where did my pay go? Endorsements done left me now. I need me a new loan, you know?
Run our test, oldies with a fresh twist. From Concussion Records.
Yeah, we put the con back in concussion.
Available at NBA games and bail bondsmen everywhere.
True that.
And now a word from the National Keep Our Own Kids Safe campaign about the danger of soccer.
I see soccer as not a violent sport. It's a symptom of violence, not really a cause of violence.
Keep Our Own Kids Safe national celebrity spokesman Rush Limbaugh.
Are you a paid member of the soccer lobby? There have been people in other endeavors of human activity who have known of inherent risks and have lied about them.
If anything, your words will serve only to embolden people's efforts to spread the sport of soccer, and I hope that doesn't incorporate an increased number of injuries and so on and so forth.
Well, me too. I can only bring the information to the people. If anger at me causes others to get more people into this game, I can't be held accountable for that.
I love the game, and I played a little bit of football as well, and I tell you, I would never take my chances on the football field.
And you took chances that you didn't even know you were taking on the soccer field, and that's my point. You didn't even know because they hid the data from us.
The last time I checked, I didn't have any brain damage. But
well, oftentimes victims are the last to know. You should ask your family members if there have been any changes.
Join Rush Limbaugh and help support the Keep Our Own Kids Safe campaign. Look for the Keep Our Own Kids Safe chapter near you. You'll find them everywhere. Now from
in addition, ladies and gentlemen, to the fact that it has been 49 months since the U.S. hit peak employment back in January of 2008, that's a year before Obama. And since I told you that it will take some 10 million new jobs being created to rehire all of those who have lost their jobs and to absorb new workers coming out of college, for example. It's massive what we have to do here. To reemploy the people who've lost their jobs and take care of those coming out of school, either high school or college, who want work. We're going to have to create some 10 million new jobs. We've lost 2 million jobs since Obama was inaugurated, right? There is no economic recovery. There is no economic growth. There is nothing to write home about. And yes, the media knows this, because this stuff I just gave you is in the media. It's in a part of the media that the mainstream media ignores and poo-poos and doesn't consider legitimate. Like the way they see Fox News, or the way they see this program, or any other conservative talk show, or anything else that isn't ABC, NBC, CBS, a local newspaper, the New York Times, the Washington Post, the LA Times, USA Today, you name it. In fact, as I've always said, if you missed the New York Times, no biggie, read the Washington Post. If you missed that, no biggie, read the LA Times. Missed that, watch CBS. Missed that, watch NBC. Missed that, watch ABC. Missed that, watch CNN. Missed that, watch MSNBC. I mean, it's all the same. Same stories, same agenda, same opinions. But you miss this show one day, and you won't find it anywhere else. There are two stark, separate media worlds today. Ours, we think, and try and strive for, is the truth. Although we do have opinions here that we're honest about, and we have cares and interests, outcomes that we like to affect. So do they. They just won't admit that. Anyway, we've lost 2 million jobs. We need 10 million jobs. Investors Business Daily also points out that the country's gross domestic product hasn't risen 4% or more in any quarter since the first quarter of 2006. This is 2012. In 6 years, we have not had economic growth exceed 4%. The Chi-Com's economic growth right now is 9%, for example. There are other countries in the world, India, growing much faster. We can't even muster 2 straight quarters of 4% growth. This is the longest such stretch on record going back to 1950. That's how bad it is. And this is why the Democrat pollster, Mr. Greenberg, is trying to warn Obama, the Democrat, don't try to tell people that the economy is roaring back. Don't try to tell them that this recovery is headed on full steam, because they're not living it. It isn't going to work. And Obama's numbers on the economy are appropriately unsatisfied. We were promised if Congress passed Obama's stimulus package, it would keep the unemployment rate under 8%. He told us that. President Obama himself passed this stimulus and will keep the unemployment rate under 8%. And yet, after more than 3 full years in orifice and spending Allah knows how many trillions of taxpayer dollars, we haven't gotten unemployment any lower than it was the first month he was in office, 8.3%. And that needs to be tied around his neck like a Nobel Prize. This is utter, complete, total failure where we're concerned. For him, it's success. And that's another story. Let's start on the phones. We're going to go to Columbia, South Carolina. Hi, Irene. Your first big responsibility, being first caller on Open Line Friday. Hi.
Hi, Rush. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Glad that I could get through. I so agree with what you've been saying on your whole monologue that you started. Just wanted to add to that. I'm so frustrated, Rush, I can't even see straight. I scan all the news agencies on the website to see what's going on and just to compare. And I caught the video of Soledad O'Brien from CNN with the Breitbart fellow, the representative. And it was absurd. The lack of journalistic integrity was so unprecedented on her behalf that it just made me sick.
This is the confrontation where she makes it very obvious and apparent that she doesn't think that this Obama video and his possible tie to this radical Professor Derek Bell is even a story, right?
Yes, that's correct. That's the one. Not only that, but she goes out of her way to present this man as an esteemed Harvard professor, which just as a side note, if you caught Andrea Mitchell with Ben, what was his last name? I can't remember. She did the same thing on their show.
But look at Irene. That's what Soledad O'Brien really thinks. There's nothing you're going to be able to... That's what she thinks any professor at Harvard is distinguished. By definition, all you have to do is be there and you're distinguished. All you have to do is be at Harvard or Yale, Princeton, and you are distinguished. There's no changing her mind on that. Those guys in the video got the right observation. They made the right observation. You know, she's saying, I don't know what you guys are doing. I don't see any big news here. I don't see where the blockbuster. And they said, that's the blockbuster. The blockbuster is that you don't see anything here that is of any note. The blockbuster is you're not interested in finding out who Barack Obama is. And that's the only point we're trying to make. And thank you, Ms. O'Brien, for making it for us. That's what happened.
The magic will continue on the EIB network.
A lot of us are not going to let that happen.
Ever wonder how Barbara Boxer keeps that uptight, uncomfortable look all day long? She's got her thong on. And now you can keep it uptight, too. Celebrate spring with the environmental thong made with dried leaves, moss, and twigs. Or keep leaks to yourself with a dependable Pat Leahy model. It only leaks when you want it to. All our boxers are unisex and come in only one size, extra, extra small, for that uniquely uptight look that's so fashionable with your left-wing buddies. Now you, too, can look uptight and uncomfortable all day long. And if you ever feel a smile coming on, just cinch it up a little higher. Just ask Ron Reagan Jr. So just throw out the old boxers and get your thong on with the Barbara Boxer Thong Collection. Check out the Barbara Boxer Thong Collection wherever left-wing loonies are found. Now, an official announcement by our dear leader Barack Hussein Obama.
Every day, people all across America are spreading vicious stories and taking my name in vain. To get reelected, we must fight against the truth that blocks our way. That's why I created AttackWatch.com, a website devoted to shutting down the free expression of all subversive, counter-revolutionary ideas. A place where you can report those who spread rumors, nasty emails, and public utterances attacking me. If you love me, you'll turn in anyone engaged in these types of activity. Friends, family, associates, children, anyone.
If you're tired of hearing how President Obama single-handedly screwed up the economy, hijacked healthcare, mishandled foreign policy...
That's enough!
Drop the ball!
I'm turning you in!
Wanted old people to take a pill and fly!
AttackWatch.com. We're watching you.
Do you have a low IQ? Don't mix well in normal society? Feel like you don't fit in? Then join the ranks of the elite Federal Baggage Screeners Corps. We're hiring thousands of qualified applicants right now. Just pass our rigorous job placement exam.
Yep, this one's breathing.
And you're on your way to a successful career. Like Betty, an elderly widow who enjoys knowing what's in everyone's bag.
Why, just last week I found a pair of ladies' panties in a golf bag. Imagine that, a pair of panties in a golf bag.
Or perhaps you're a deranged loner with poor hygiene and grooming habits, like Larry.
I used to soil myself down at the bus station, but this is much better.
And if you have a really deep-seated emotional problem, you may be management material. So don't be afraid to call. Work for someone who appreciates you just as you are. The elite Federal Baggage Screeners Corps of America. Remember, America is counting on you. Now an important message from President.
See, we did it every day. We got everything done I wanted to get done, plus we got a phone call in on Open Line Friday. And seriously, those of you who've been with us for 23 years, I really appreciate your indulging me as I turn back the hands of time to acknowledge the millions of new listeners to the program and the opportunity that presents. But remember, for them to start where we are 23 years into all of this might be confusing. So I'm going back a little bit, make it a little bit more basic in my explanations in order to enlarge the Army. I appreciate your indulgence on that, and we'll be back. Don't go away.
Excellence in broadcasting.
And now a message from the Alan Alda Institute for Reformed Manliness.
Before I was enlightened here at the Institute, I too was a linear, logical thinker. Everything was black or white, right or wrong. I didn't need directions because I knew where I was going. Now, thanks to Alan, I can stay home and save gas as I ask myself why I was going in the first place. Without the valuable training I received, I wouldn't know how to cry at school plays and origami class. I wouldn't have been touched by Oprah's incredibly deep shows where I found out that I was too judgmental. So now I leave all the decisions up to Judy.
Who are you talking to?
No one, honey.
Then get in here and finish vacuuming!
Yes, dear. Thanks, Alan. This is such an adventure.
The Alan Alda Institute for Reformed Manliness. Make the change today. And now, Saving the World with Al Gore Jr.
Hello, this is Albert Gore Jr. And as I said in the New York Times, I, for one, genuinely wish that the climate crisis were an illusion. But unfortunately, the reality of the danger we are courting has not been changed by the discovery of at least 2 very small mistakes in the thousands of pages of careful scientific research. Small mistakes happen every day. Ask Charlie Rangel. He went on vacation and had no idea who was paying for it. Nancy Pelosi thought it was okay to fly friends and family and associates to Washington and to Copenhagen so that they could be near her. Honest mistakes happen all the time. Ask Governor Patterson, who sent a couple of state troopers to a woman's house to deliver a Hallmark card of sympathy, and it was mistakenly caught up in the press as some sort of threat. Well, I say all that to say this, that honest mistakes are made every day by Democrats everywhere. What's a few degrees in temperature either way? Cut me some slack.
Join us next time as we once again save the world with Al Gore Jr.
Now a message from the Memphis City Schools.
My fellow Memphians, be sure to sign up your kids for the free supper and midnight snack program at the Memphis City Schools this fall, and pick them up next May if you still recognize them. Memphis is America's 5th most obese city in the world, but we don't have to be. Let's go to the top of the charts with a balanced Memphis diet of barbecue pork ribs, pulled pork, pork chops, banana pudding, and butter. Yeah. Wait, what's this?
Apple slices.
What the hell can we do with that? Yeah, I know. 5 minutes in the microwave, half a stick of butter, cinnamon sugar, and ice cream. Yeah, sounds good. So if you're all shook up about fixing your kid one meal a day, drop them off here at the Memphis City Schools and spend them food stamps on yourself.
Celebrity voice impression performed by celebrity voice impressionist. President Obama is not the Messiah and did not raise Elvis from the dead.
This message brought to you by the SEIU. Fixing breakfast, lunch, dinner, and assorted snacks for your children 24/7. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Attention drivers, truckers, RV owners. Do you enjoy driving and talking on your handheld cell phone but don't want a ticket? Then you need the Burger and Fries Stealth Cell Phone from Crapco. The phone comes disguised as a lifelike plastic hamburger bun. Add the condiments of your choice for added realism. Stick the included wireless French fry in your ear. Then drive and chat the miles away. And in case you're pulled over by the man.
All right, Mac, you're getting a ticket for driving while using a handheld cell phone.
But, officer, I wasn't on the phone. I was just eating my burger and fries.
Oh, well, that's different. Here, you need a napkin.
Why, thank you, officer.
Plus, each Crapco Burger and Fries Stealth Cell Phone has a lifetime warranty just in case you ever have to eat it.
Hey, that's not one of those Crapco phones, is it? Let me see you take a bite out of that bun.
Sure.
Simply recover the residue and send it to us for a complete refund. The revolutionary Crapco Burger and Fries Stealth Cell Phone. Onions, pickles, ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise, and sesame seeds not included.
The views expressed by the host on this program, now documented to be almost always right, 99.7% of the time. And it's Friday, so let's hit it.
And now, from sunny South Florida, it's Open Line Friday.
That means that all the rules, Monday through Thursday, are cast aside. You don't have to talk about what I care about. If I don't care about what you're talking about, I will fake it. I will act like I'm interested. Maybe. It's a golden opportunity for those of you who think you can do this better. If you call, if you get through, you have a chance to talk about whatever it is that you think needs to be talked about or that you'd like to say. Telephone number is 800-282-2882. The email address, lrushbaugh@eibnet.com. One of the things I was talking about earlier, we have the Democrat Party, we have Barack Obama. I don't care who in the party you talk about. The conventional wisdom, what everybody seems to believe is that the Democrats care about the little guy. The Democrats are for the downtrodden, the hungry, the thirsty, the starving, the depressed, the bullied, you name it. They have the big hearts. They have all the compassion. The Republicans and their big business buddies basically just want to get rid of everybody. They want to kill the customers and charge everybody all these expensive prices for stuff that they need and want. They don't care about anybody, and that's standard operating procedure for the media. I think it's just the exact opposite. And furthermore, I think, in addition to everything else that's wrong with Obama and his regime, his agenda, everything he's trying to do to the country, I also think that most of the people in his administration are simply out of touch with the American people. I don't think they have the slightest clue what life in this country is like. They are utopians. They have this dream where everybody is perfect as they define perfection, by the way, which means you and I, everybody else, are totally subservient to them. But they're really, I don't think there's anybody, Obama's energy secretary doesn't drive a car. Drives his bicycle around or is driven around, but he doesn't drive a car. He doesn't know what all's involved in driving a car. From the price of gasoline to tuning it up to getting it serviced to all of this. He may have in the past, but nobody in the Obama administration has ever held a job in the private sector. They're all academicians. They're all from the academy. They all just sit around the faculty lounge and dream about what would happen if they were in charge. And they'd get rid of that ugly, dirty oil, and they'd get rid of all the filth and pollution, and they'd get rid of global warming, and they'd get rid of the U.S. military, focus of evil in the modern world, and they'd get rid of all this stuff that they think is evil. And they get elected, and they're clueless. And all the while, they're out there claiming that Mitt Romney is this evil rich guy who has nothing in common with anybody. Mitt Romney's self-made. By the way, they hate that. Self-made. I had some sound bites yesterday. I didn't get the Cookie. Do you think you could find those sound bites? They were media people who were just beside themselves that some new arrivals on the Forbes billionaire list were self-made. They didn't believe it was possible. If my memory is right. They either didn't believe it was possible or they didn't believe it, period. But either they were agitated. And I think Cookie was one of them. Andrea Mitchell, NBC News, Washington. It was one of them, Diane Sawyer. I forget, but they were literally irritated that billionaires had made it on their own, that they were self-made. They can't relate to this. It's Diane Sawyer. And so they look at Romney, and here's this evil, rich guy. He's out of touch. He doesn't know how real people live. Listen to the way he talks. His wife has 2 Cadillacs. He's got all these homes. He doesn't. He doesn't know how people live. Obama's czars are as out of touch as the czars of Russia. They see no problem with a $50 light bulb. Who can afford one? They think that's progress, in fact, a $50 light bulb. They don't see anything wrong with a $40,000 or $50,000 car that goes 40 miles on a charge. They have literally no grounding in reality. Everything is utopian theory to these people. Look at all of the Michelle Obama nonstop vacationing. And it's not just Michelle and the girls. She takes an entourage. She and her husband going to the same vacation destination, Martha's Vineyard last year. She flew on her own Boeing 757 4 hours before her husband, the president, went. They took 2 airplanes. These are not people who are in touch, either that or they feel like they're royalty and are entitled. But the Obama regime has given a company something like $10 million to develop a light bulb that costs $50, that the free market sees no need for. Everybody was happy with the Thomas Edison good old incandescent light bulb. Nobody was unhappy with it except Obama and his buddies on the left. And for some reason, that light bulb of Thomas Edison's was going to destroy the planet, along with oil and any other sign of progress. It was going to cause global warming or global freezing or climate change or what have you. Things, by the way, human beings are incapable of doing. We don't have that power, folks. I hate to tell you that we humans don't have the power to destroy the climate or to even change it. If we did, there wouldn't be winter where people live that don't like winter. If we had the ability, there'd be rain every time we needed it and no more than what we needed. If we could control it, we'd make sure that no hurricane ever wiped out a city. We have no power over these things. But our vanity is such. On the one hand, these leftists think that we have the power to lower the sea levels. Obama said he was going to do that. We have the power to stop climate change. We have the power to stop glaciers from melting and saving the polar bears. The polar bear population, by the way, is skyrocketing out of sight. The polar bears are not dying off. Their habitat is not threatened. You new arrivals, you really have no idea how many lies that you have been subjected to over the last 20, 30 years. You really have no idea how much you believe that is just wrong as it can be. There simply is no way that human beings can do all these things. So on the one hand, we have all this power. We can stop the melting of the glaciers. We can lower the sea levels. Really, a moment later, the same leftists can talk about us as if we're no more important than a rat when we start talking about animal rights. We're no different. We're no better. We're not superior to any other life form. In fact, the earth would be better off without us. And that really is it. They don't see any good in humanity. Humanity's a problem. Particularly free people are a problem. Free people get us in too much trouble. Free people start wars. Free people get rich while other people get poor. Free people exploit other people. Free people laugh and bully other people. Free people do all this rotten. And we've got to stop it. The only way we can stop it is to take freedom away from people so they can't bully anybody anymore. They can't get rich anymore. It can't be unfair. It can't be unequal. That's how a guy like Obama solves a problem. Take freedom away. Make everybody equal. Because freedom's the problem. Freedom is what results in people being different, see? And I can't have people be different. That's not right. That's not justice for people to be different. Just not fair. So, we have to make sure these rich people, these free people, don't run around and destroy the planet with their jets. Obama's exempted. Michelle's exempted. Go out and do all this destruction. So we take their freedom away from them. And then we make them do things against their nature, because they won't do the right thing unless we force them to. So in order to get them to buy that light bulb that we demand they use, we're going to take the one they like off the market. We're going to make it illegal to buy a Thomas Edison invented light bulb. In the United States of America, we're going to make it illegal. Because you people who won't give it up on your own are hurting the climate, are harming the climate. You could destroy the world. And we can't sit around idly while you rich people who don't care about anybody else destroy them. So we're going to take your freedom away and tell you can't buy that light bulb. And instead, we're going to make you buy this other light bulb. Costs $50, looks like spaghetti. And we gave a guy $10 million, his company, to create it. There's a story right here. Government-subsidized green light bulb carries costly price tag. It's the Washington Post. U.S. government last year announced a $10 million award, dubbed the L Prize, for any manufacturer that could create a green but affordable light bulb. Energy Secretary Stephen Chu, who had just stepped off his bicycle, said the prize would spur industry to offer the costly bulbs known as LEDs at prices affordable for American families. You see, the market won't do that on its own, folks. The free market will not come up with the most efficient, cheapest, mass-produced product that most people want. No, free market. Well, of course, that's exactly what the market does. That is exactly what the market does. The market comes up with the most efficient to produce, the cheapest to buy, the best possible for the money product. It is the Obamas of the world who don't trust the free market. When the free market doesn't do what Obama wants it to do, it's not enough to say, damn it, Obama's going to step in and punish them and make them do what he wants to do, even if he's going to cite powers as president that he doesn't have from the Constitution. So, Stephen Chu, who doesn't drive a car, Nobel Prize-winning energy secretary, said that this $10 million bribe award would spur otherwise cold-hearted, callous private sector businesses to offer up these green light bulbs at prices affordable for the American family. Because without the government stepping in, without the government making them do it, no business will sell anything that's affordable. You understand that? Every private sector business will do nothing but rip you off. That's what Obama wants you to believe. That's what the Democrats want you to believe. Hell, some of you do. So they're the white knights. They get to come in, and they get to punish these private sector guys. They get to say, you're being ripped off. All these people in the private sector, they're ripping you off. But we, who care about you most, we are going to give some business $10 million if they come up with a solution. It's sort of like this new Tesla Roadster. You heard about this, Brian? $100,000 hybrid car. The Karma, that's right. $100,000 hybrid car, high end. You can all afford a $100,000 car, right? $100,000 hybrid electric car is being tested. It's in its moment of glory for Consumer Reports, and it just shuts down. Went kaput. $100,000. That's right, for the upper crust, the elites. So, back to the light bulb. The government says, here's $10 million. What you end up with has to be affordable for the American people, and there must be a Buy America component in it, which meant that portions of the bulb would have to be made in the United States. The winning bulb is on the market. It was made by Philips, and it cost $50. Retailers say that the $50 light bulb is likely to cost too much to have broad appeal. Similar LED bulbs are less than half that cost. Brad Paulson, merchant for the light bulb category at Home Depot, said, I don't want to say it's exorbitant, but if a customer is only looking at the price, they could come to that conclusion. This guy's even afraid to tell the truth. He said, you expect me to stay in business selling a $50 light bulb? Mandated by the government? The L prize stands for ludicrous. Maybe the president, I'll tell you what will happen next. Next, folks, certain Americans will get a $45 tax credit for every $50 light bulb they buy. That's how they do it. Pay you to buy it. Since they're so in touch, since they already care about you more than anybody else, they'll pay you $45 million of tax credit to buy the $50 bulb. And maybe, I can just see it now, after giving you a $10,000 tax credit to go buy a Chevy Volt, they'll throw in a free $50 bulb for when you get home. That's how they'll
Rush Limbaugh, simply fascinating on the EIB network. Now America's most scintillating talk show, The Tom Daschle Show.
Tom Daschle! Hi, and welcome to the Tom Daschle Show. I'm Tom Daschle. Recently, I've experienced some life changes which have allowed me to take the plunge. Yes, I'm now officially a full-time talk radio host, right here on the internet.
Tom Daschle!
We're simulcasting from our flagship 250-watt powerhouse right here on the reservation in Little Bear. Our trusted engineer tells me that our 2.5-bit streaming audio is sounding great today. So you shouldn't experience any problems listening today. I want to go back to the question we've been dealing with. Why did the Democrats lose the election? From Tennessee, it's Al again.
Hello, Tom. You know, I was just thinking this morning, since I came closer to winning in 2000 against George Bush, I'm uniquely qualified to say that if I had chosen to run this time, my semester at Divinity School would have come in pretty handy in dealing with the insurgent evangelicals.
I think that's enough. Everybody knows you flunked out of Divinity School, Al.
I chose to flunk out.
And we're going to choose another caller here. James from Louisiana. Hello, James.
I'm telling you, this party must be born again.
So we should repent of our past evil ways and follow the truth?
Heck no, I wasn't born yesterday. I'm just saying we need a new hula dance with a religious grass skirt.
Oh, I see. Like Jimmy Carter.
I am ready to accept your accolades.
James, you sound...
Do not doubt me.
This caller seems to be on every line.
I'm ready to accept your apologies for doubting me.
Let's go to a break.
Do not doubt me. Sorry, I did it again.
See ya. Let's go to a break. You're listening to Tom
Daschle!
Daschle right here on the Tom Daschle Show on the internet.
Out of the Old West comes a new twist from the producers of Brokeback Mountain. Remakes of your favorite Western classics, destined to be Oscar contenders, like How the West Was Festive, Paint My Wagon, and the golden classic, He Wore a Yellow Ribbon.
What, old chief, can I give you as a token of our friendship?
Me take 'em beads.
Never! They match my hat and my boots.
You'll never forget The Boyfriends of Bobby Elder, The Magnificent Stephen, or The Man Who Spanked Liberty Valance.
Well, what are you trying to say, Pilgrim?
I want you to be my partner.
Come on, America. Join Hollywood this year as we continue to make fun of ourselves with the first in a series of new Western classics. Watch for them coming soon from the producers of Brokeback Mountain.
Spank me, Liberty! Spank me!
Attention Newsweek readers, there's never been a better time to receive or renew your subscription to Newsweek.
Wow, I haven't read that liberal rag in years.
What if we told you about our new amazing subscription offer that not only guarantees you'll have an entire year of Newsweek delivered right to your door, but it also makes you a publishing magnate.
Okay, I'm game.
For only $19.99, you'll receive an entire year of the slightly slanted news coverage, opinion, and interviews you'd expect from Newsweek.
I'm not sold yet.
And by checking our special Buy the Magazine box on the bottom of your subscription card, we'll give you the entire magazine for only $1.
Yeah, I'm getting a year's worth of the magazine.
No, you're taking the entire Newsweek operation, staff, printing press, and our debt.
Newsweek, huh? Hey, you got a deal on Playboy?
For this amazing Newsweek offer, call 1-800-BROKE-RAG. That's 1-800-BROKE-RAG. Newsweek, another failed institution of the liberal media.
And back to the phones. It's Open Line Friday. Who's next? Victor in Atlanta, Georgia. Victor, thank you for waiting. It's great to have you here with us.
Hey, Rush, thanks for taking my call.
You bet, sir.
Rush, I wanted to just talk about, I hear on the radio sometimes about the enthusiasm in this election. And one of the things that I wanted to share, I'm an African-American living in DeKalb County in the surrounding Atlanta area.
Okay.
And, my reality is that, I'm working, but my wife hasn't worked for a couple of years. I have a 24-year-old son that, he was in school last semester working part-time jobs. I mean, he's really discouraged. I'm like, things are tough out here. And, but I don't know about, getting together and rallying, but I know that this November, when I go to the polls, I can't endure another couple of years like I've just come through. And, on one hand, we talk about, looking for a candidate that's exciting. Rush, I'm having such a tough time paying to what's going on in my household that I've been zapped out of enthusiasm. But I just can't suffer through another 4 years of Barack Obama.
Nobody else can either. Nobody. Let me tell you a story here, Victor, because you're not alone. I'm going to illustrate this whole enthusiasm thing for you in a certain ways. I think people are worried about it. You're believing media polls about it. You're believing the media is telling us that Republican excitement's been tamped down because nobody likes a Republican field. Let me tell you, playing golf almost exactly 3-4 years ago, and a guy from South Carolina was a Democrat. I was meeting him for the second time. I couldn't understand. This guy's made no sense to me intellectually. He's a Democrat. And he kept ragging on George W. Bush, kept making fun of Bush, trying to provoke me. And I said, what is it with you and Bush? Can we get serious for a minute? What is your problem? And he looked at me and said, it can't get any worse, Rush. And I looked at him and I just shook my head and I said, it most certainly can, and it's going to. Now, it is much worse. It's 10 times as worse, Victor, as it was 4 or 5 years ago when this guy told me it can't get any worse. And by the way, when this guy told me the economy had not really started its downward plunge, he was just reacting to Iraq and the fact that everybody thought we had a stupid president. Everybody was embarrassed of Bush's lack of intelligence, and the media was trying to tell everybody the economy was in the tank, but it wasn't yet. And I was stuck because it's not a dumb guy by any means. It can't get any worse. His partisanship is overcoming. My point to you, Victor, is 75% of the American people at Super Tuesday exit polls said the number 1, 2, and 3 things that matter to them are the economy. You are not only not alone, you are in a majority of 75%. And those same people say and feel the same thing. They don't want 4 more years of this, and it won't matter who the Republican nominee is to them, because they're going to be voting against Obama first and foremost.
What college do you dream of sending your kids to? Yale, Harvard, Princeton?
Forget it. Those are the universities of yesteryear. The school of the future is COC.
Community Organizer College.
I'm a graduate, and I just took control of General Motors. And now I'm thinking of taking over Chrysler, too. Maybe. Or selling it to an Italian bicycle company. I think.
Want your kids to run a giant company or even an entire industry like healthcare, banking, or insurance? Enroll him or her at COC, Community Organizer College.
Do you want your darlings to have trillions of dollars of money to spread around? Apply to Community Organizer College. Our teachings are based on a major breakthrough in education. It's not what you know, it's what people think you know.
At COC, Community Organizer College, we don't waste time teaching English, history, math, science, or business management.
We teach cool. We teach pompous. We teach teleprompter, doublespeak, seducing the media.
Community Organizer College.
Where your kids can learn to run a company or a country. Who knows? Maybe the entire planet.
Community Organizer College. Capacity is limited. Better act now. For an application, dial 1-800-ACORN-COC.
It's not what you know. It's what people think you know.
Watch the sitcom everybody in the media is talking about. Leave It to Barry, the daily story of that cute, cuddly kid who's wormed his way into America's heart.
Hey, mister, where's the office of the president-elect?
There isn't one.
Yes, it's always one laugh after another, with Tom Daschle as Eddie Hassel.
This is the best healthcare plan ever, because it's only 1 page long. Double-spaced. Just sign here. We'll work out the details later.
Nancy Pelosi is the loving mother of the country.
Hey, Mom, can I, okay, never mind.
Harry Reid is the kindly old neighbor next door.
You tourists stink.
And Barack Obama as Barry.
We will help people who haven't paid their mortgages by giving them another 90 days not to pay them. Blagojevich? Who's Blagojevich?
Leave It to Barry every day right here after Paulson and Frank, the odd couple. Now a message from President Barack Obama on how he plans to help Americans cope with higher gasoline prices.
My fellow Americans, I'm sure that you, like most Americans, are feeling pinched economically by higher gas prices at the pump. Recent political events in the Middle East have destabilized oil-producing nations, disrupting supply, raising prices, and calling into question America's dependence on foreign oil. As president, I would have preferred a gradual adjustment, but I can't do anything about the high cost of gasoline. But you can. Buy the all-new Chevrolet Volt, Government Motors' first full production electric car for just under $50,000. Consumer Reports said it was the only electric car that GM makes, and that it was capable of going up to 28 miles in the snow. And you can extend that range by taking along an optional 400-pound second battery.
Yes, you can buy an electric car that's slow, fuel-efficient, American-made, and more expensive than a Toyota Prius, even after a $7,500 tax credit.
The Chevrolet Volt. Last month we sold over 281. Who knows how many more we'll sell if gas prices reach an optimum of, say, $15 a gallon.
The Chevrolet Volt. Buy here, buy now.
Hi, welcome back. Great to have you. Rush Limbaugh, the EIB Network, the Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies. I want to try something here. It's very delicate, but I'm going to give it a shot. And it's aimed at those of you who are lacking confidence over the possibility of beating Obama. We just heard from Victor in Atlanta. And despite what is real, Victor is convinced. He's not convinced, but he's very frightened that the enthusiasm to dump Obama is fading on our side. Now, there's been an event that happened last weekend, and it's had legs, and it's gone on throughout this entire week. It was an event which ended up being directed out of the White House. It was all said and done. And it's safe to say that this event has backfired on them. Everything they hoped to accomplish this week, they've not accomplished. They might have 25 years ago, but they haven't. They, on the left, are now being forced by an army of people on the right to have to comport themselves to the same standards that they are demanding of others, and that's going to put a real crimp in their style. Remember when I apologized, I said one aspect of what I had done wrong was I descended to their level. And I meant to emphasize that. I descended to their level. That's what was, among other things, that were wrong about it. But it was a one-time thing for me. They live there. Now they've been called on it. Kirsten Powers at Fox News, with the couple of columns that she has written on the double standard, she deserves Medal of Valor. She deserves a huge medal. I don't want to spend too much time. She's already in enough trouble with people on her side. But it's obvious it isn't bothering her. No, I'm not trying to speak in code. I'm just trying to let things remain where they are. But the fact of the matter is, you talk about enthusiasm? I've seen it. The enthusiasm that's out there on the right, on our team, I'm telling you, it's at an all-time high. And if, I say, if the capital IF, if that enthusiasm had started to wane, the media and the Democrats have ginned it back up to higher levels than it ever has been since the Tea Party days of 2010. It's back, folks. Trust me. Don't doubt me. I am fully aware. The enthusiasm is there. The energy is there on the part of people on our side all over this country. There is shell shock on the left. They thought this was the time. This was going to be that moment when they finally succeeded. Right now, they're sitting out there in stunned confusion, trying to figure out why it hasn't happened. Why am I still here? And again, I don't mean to be cryptic, but your level of understanding on this is already quite high. And I'm just telling you, don't doubt the enthusiasm that exists on our side to triumph over these people at the ballot box where and how it should be done. This event turned out to be, it wasn't a fluke. It was purposeful. All they ended up doing was calling attention to their own constant misogyny. All they ended up doing was focusing the attention on all of their people on the left who are constantly and every day in the gutter. They're not there by accident or by mistake, like I was for 5 minutes. They live there, and that's what's been made plain this week. That has been what has been made clear. I also had, I didn't get to it yesterday, but you may have seen this by now, the video, Jan Schakowsky of Illinois and Sheila Jackson Lee were caught by somebody, might have been Breitbart people, I forget who it was, with a camera and microphone. And they would not condemn any of the language from any of their favorite people on the left. No, it's totally different. Oh, you mean so it's okay for Sarah Palin to be called the C word as long as the guy calling her the C word is pro-choice, essentially. Their hypocrisy has been illustrated triumphantly and in great Klieg lights and on display every week. I apologized for behaving like a Democrat. They can't, because they are. They're there every day. I apologized for behaving like a liberal. They live there. They always overreach. They always throw gasoline on our fire. This is crazy given the price of gasoline. But if you think the enthusiasm level is down, these people essentially set our hair on fire this week. So don't doubt the enthusiasm. And with the exit polling data, 75% coming out of Super Tuesday election polling places. Number one issue, economy. Number two issue, economy. Number three issue, you couldn't find contraception anywhere on the list. You couldn't find the war on women. It wasn't there. Even among the women coming out, that's Republican primary, obviously, but Republican women are women. They care about the economy. And they know the economy's not roaring back, and they know that everything they're hearing from the media and from Obama, from the White House about a roaring economy is not true. And Victor, they're just like you. Their husbands, they themselves, 2 years without a job. No prospects. Don't want 2 more years of this. Don't want 4 more years of this. 75% of this country does not want 4 more years of this or another day of it. Don't doubt me. I've got these sound bites I mentioned. Ladies and gentlemen, Diane Sawyer and a couple of others just beside themselves that billionaires are self-made. It was Wednesday night, ABC's World News Tonight with Diane Sawyer, the anchor, and she reported this about the latest edition of the Forbes list of billionaires.
The Forbes billionaires list the richest people in the world, and today we got to look at some surprising people who made the cut this time. There are 1,226 billionaires, 16 more than last year, 104 women, that's a record, and 128 are new. But as we scanned this list, we did notice a kind of revolution underway because so many of this year's billionaires bootstrapped their way onto the list.
So many of them bootstrapped it. Well, how else do you get there? I want to know, who gives people $1 billion? How else is somebody going to come up with $1 billion? That's a lot of money, folks. How do people become billionaires in Diane Sawyer's view, in her world? Do you go to Harvard? They just give that to you for graduating? Are you a Kennedy family member? And of course, now that they've squandered it all. There isn't that kind of money left, the Kennedy side, not to spread around all of them. So where do you get it? Where did Warren Buffett, where did Gates, where did these people get their billionaire? What does she think? A kind of revolution underway. So many of billionaires bootstrapped their way onto the list. Worked for it. Golly, imagine. They worked for it. Nobody gave it to them. Why? That doesn't compute. So the next soundbite we have, Wednesday night, ABC's World News Tonight, the business correspondent, Biana Golodriga, reporting about who's on the latest edition of Forbes billionaire list. This reporter's husband is Obama's former director of the Office of Management and Budget, Peter Orszag. So this babe doing the reporting is the wife of a former Obama administration official.
The creator of Spanx was only 29 when she invested her entire life savings, $5,000, into an idea, inspired when she heard Oprah saying she made her own version of a tummy flattener. Kevin Plank, the self-proclaimed sweatiest guy on the football field, turned that sweat into gold, coming up with Under Armour, a moisture-absorbing sports apparel line. Car aficionado Elon Musk raced his way to a cool $2 billion, thanks to his electrifying electric car company, Tesla. And less than a year after the death of Steve Jobs, his widow, Laureen, enters the list with an estimated $9 billion. Out of the 128 newly minted billionaires this year, 2 out of 3 are self-made. Inspiration for all of us.
2 out of 3 are self-made. And inspiration. At least they said that. What a shocker, folks. Entrepreneurs become billionaires in America. Who would have thought it? Who would have thought that could possibly... Entrepreneurs become billionaires in America. 2 out of 3 bootstrapped their way. You understand that? You didn't know that was possible, did you? Some of you might not have known. I remember now we've got a lot of new arrivals here this week. Maybe some of you think that's grossly unfair. I don't know how. They worked for it. And on Nightline the same night, on Wednesday night, this is John Donovan's report on the Forbes list.
So who is really way up there where the net worth gets into the 40s and the 50s and the 60s of billions? Well, some familiar old faces, and we could list their products, though all of them, what they really make, no matter what, is money.
Oh. So you have to get the dig in. What billionaires really do is make money. That's about it. They don't do anything. They make money.
The wonder of Rush will continue on the EIB network. Now a message from President Barack Obama on how he plans to help Americans cope with higher gasoline prices.
My fellow Americans, I'm sure that you, like most Americans, are feeling pinched economically by higher gas prices at the pump. Recent political events in the Middle East have destabilized oil-producing nations, disrupting supply, raising prices, and calling into question America's dependence on foreign oil. As president, I would have preferred a gradual adjustment, but I can't do anything about the high cost of gasoline. But you can. Buy the all-new Chevrolet Volt, Government Motors' first full production electric car for just under $50,000. Consumer Reports said it was the only electric car that GM makes, and that it was capable of going up to 28 miles in the snow. And you can extend that range by taking along an optional 400-pound second battery.
Yes, you can buy an electric car that's slow, fuel-efficient, American-made, and more expensive than a Toyota Prius, even after a $7,500 tax credit.
The Chevrolet Volt. Last month we sold over 281. Who knows how many more we'll sell if gas prices reach an optimum of, say, $15 a gallon.
The Chevrolet Volt. Buy here, buy now.
Is your terror cell living in terror?
Now this word from the New York Times to jihadists everywhere.
Is your safe house not that safe? If you want your sleeper cell to sleep safely, read the New York Times.
Jihadists everywhere depend on the New York Times.
I saved my sleeper cell thanks to the New York Times.
For information you can't get anywhere else.
Did you know your phone calls are traced? Did you know your money transfers are being intercepted?
Now, thanks to the New York Times, you will be safe and secure.
I rerouted my terror funds thanks to the New York Times.
From Tora Bora to Tijuana, terrorists everywhere depend on the New York Times.
Because you'll find all the secret stuff that makes news meaningful to you.
Plus, exciting bonus features.
Daily attacks on the infidels by Maureen O'Dowd and Paul Al-Krugman and Tom Al-Friedman. Not to mention the entire front page of our newspaper, which is daily attacks on the infidels.
Gift subscriptions available.
We offer at the New York Times quantity discounts for large terror cells, educational discounts for madrasas and terrorist training camps. Read the New York Times and your sleeper cell can sleep safely.
Even in the deepest, darkest cave, you'll be the first to get inside knowledge of what the infidels have in mind to wipe you out.
New York Times, The Infidels Jihad Journal.
Now, a message of
It's Open Line Friday. Back to the phones. We go to Lee in Peapack, New Jersey. Thank you for calling. Great to have you here. Hi.
Hi, Rush. I was in the audience at your CPAC speech, and I've been a student at the Limbaugh Institute since 1990 when I was just a skullful of mush.
Well,
so I'm
thank you very much.
Excited to talk to you. And this is the first time I've been motivated to call. I was so excited to hear you yesterday quoting from the article by the heart surgeon regarding the real root causes of heart disease.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard you lamenting for a long time the government involvement in the food and how they dictate to us how to eat. And I just wanted to let you know a couple of things. There are not only liberal food activists out here, there are many of us who reject the idea that the government should be meddling in our food and telling us how to eat. And I've gotten involved in what's known as kind of the real food movement, and specifically the paleo diet, which actually tells you to eat essentially the opposite of the way the government has been dictating to us for many years.
You call yourself a food activist?
Well, I guess in a way I feel that I am, because I've seen the truth of what the government tells people in terms of what they should be eating and the disaster that has happened to people. And I've seen the difference in my own health, in my own life, eating essentially the opposite way.
Well, I'm
and
big. I like exploring language. You know, you a regular listener, you know words mean things to me, and I live in Realville. The word activist, just by itself, to me, implies leftist.
Exactly. I understand that.
Liberalism. So you are doing what you're doing in response to the government. You're not engaged in activity demanding, forcing, humiliating, guilting, or whatever other people to do what you do, and you're not asking the government to use the force of their power to do it. You're simply trying to contradict what you think is propaganda coming from the government, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Well,
and
when you call yourself a food activist, you might confuse people. They might think that you're active in telling other people how to live.
No, I agree with you, and that could be right. And I think the reason I use that word is because when you were speaking yesterday, you were talking about, the people on the left and how they want the government to tell us how to eat and all that. And I thought, well, that is true. There are a lot of those people that do that, and I've seen the results of that. But there are a lot of people who I've seen, at least in the paleosphere, that I'll call it, who tend toward liberalism. But because they've seen their health improve by doing the opposite of what the government has been saying to do, they've started to question that whole paradigm. They think, well, maybe the government should be telling us what to do, but wait a minute, this has not been working. And I find it's interesting because I'm a conservative, and I end up dealing a lot with people who are otherwise liberal, and I see them start to change their thinking based on kind of their own life experience.
Well, that's great. You know what you're doing? You're doing the job the media used to do. You're doing the job that the media should be. The media loves to say that they hold truth to power, or speak truth to power. I mean, it's holding the powerful accountable. They have abandoned that for half of the powerful. If you are a liberal, Democrat, powerful person, you are not going to be held accountable, and you're not going to be suspected, and you're not going to be reported. Nobody's going to investigate you. Your motives are not going to be questioned. But if you're Republican, it's the exact opposite. So what you're doing in simply standing there, wait a second, why should we just automatically believe this because the government? Who is the government? Who's telling it? You're doing the job the media used to. And I'm happy to hear that people are reacting to what you're doing.
Oh yeah, and I think it's really a freedom issue, and people are starting to realize, wait a minute.
It damn well is. You're exactly right. That's exactly what it is.
There are all these laws against raw milk, but yet the government will, dictate to us other things. So it just doesn't make any sense. And I do think it is eye-opening to people. And I guess in terms of it being an activist, it is more of an information. I want to get the information out there that the government involvement and intrusion and subsidies in certain industries has caused a lot of problems in people's own health. And people need to understand that. They need their own freedom. They don't need the government meddling and telling them how to eat.
Exactly right. Exactly. Look, Lee, you want to call yourself an activist, you go ahead. It's a nitpick thing with me. But what you're reactionary in this case. You are, which also carries a negative connotation, by the way, which it shouldn't be. You're simply reacting. You're minding your own business one day, and the government starts telling you how you must do this or that. You say, wait a minute, why? You're reacting to it. You're refusing to swallow it, per se. And so you're standing up for freedom, exactly what you're doing. Freedom fighter is really what you are.
Rush. Make the commitment on the EIB network.
New from Republican Pictures, Citizen McCain, the true-to-life story of a senator who was willing to go across the aisle.
Senator, when are you coming back?
Legendary were the accomplishments of John Foster McCain, a solid Republican senator, except for campaign finance reform, illegal immigration, tax cuts, Guantanamo.
You forgot global warming.
Having lost in his first bid for the presidency, he wins his party's nomination in 2008 with a new tactic.
I am today what I have always been, a conservative.
Citizen McCain, starring the veteran director John McCain, star of such memorable films as The McCain Mutiny, The Gang of 14, and the popular C-SPAN TV series Maverick.
I don't care if I am the only Republican in this town to vote with Ted Kennedy. He's right.
A potent figure in the media who held dominion over the Senate, McCain is somewhat cautious on the campaign trail.
I believe that the policies of Rosebud are...
Rosebud? What does he mean, Rosebud?
He can't bring himself to say Barack Hussein Obama.
doesn't want to offend anyone.
Citizen McCain, playing everywhere until the first Tuesday in November.
And now, Saving the World with Al Gore Jr.
Hello, this is Albert Gore Jr. And as I said in the New York Times, I, for one, genuinely wish that the climate crisis were an illusion. But unfortunately, the reality of the danger we are courting has not been changed by the discovery of at least 2 very small mistakes in the thousands of pages of careful scientific research. Small mistakes happen every day. Ask Charlie Rangel. He went on vacation and had no idea who was paying for it. Nancy Pelosi thought it was okay to fly friends and family and associates to Washington and to Copenhagen so that they could be near her. Honest mistakes happen all the time. Ask Governor Patterson, who sent a couple of state troopers to a woman's house to deliver a Hallmark card of sympathy, and it was mistakenly caught up in the press as some sort of threat. Well, I say all that to say this, that honest mistakes are made every day by Democrats everywhere. What's a few degrees in temperature either way? Cut me some slack.
Join us next time as we once again save the world with Al Gore Jr. Most Americans think that illegal
The fastest 3 hours in media. The fastest week in media. By the way, I will not be here on Monday. Who do we have guest hosting on Monday? Mark Stein is going to be here on Monday. I have an annual charity golf outing here that I participate in each and every March on Monday. So I will be out. Mark Stein will be here on Monday. I'll remind you a couple of more times before the end of the program, which resumes right after this.
Attention EIP affiliates. Stand by for the Rush Limbaugh promo feed. Copyright 2012. EIP Net. Start all recording devices in 3, 2, 1, now.
Rush Limbaugh.
Employment grows solidly for 3rd straight month.
Rush.
What the media says is a steady economic upbeat. What the media says is job market improving. What the media says is brisk job growth. 8.3% unemployment is more than twice as high as what was unacceptable unemployment during George W. Bush. Employment grows solidly for 3rd straight month. What the media says is a steady economic upbeat. What the media says is job market improving. What the media says is brisk job growth. 8.3% unemployment is more than twice as high as what was unacceptable unemployment during George W. Bush. To Barack Obama, folks, the United States is the problem in the world, not the solution.
The Rush Limbaugh Week in Review.
He genuinely believes that. You may find it hard to believe. You can't believe, well, no president, we'll never elect a president. We have, folks. It's not even that hard to believe or understand. Just pay a little bit of attention. And if that's too hard, listen to me. I'll tell you, I have no interest in lying to you. You know what? I make the mistake of assuming that people are as smart as I am.
Rush Limbaugh.
And I make the mistake of assuming that everybody listens to this show every day and thus is able to understand the context of things that I say. But in truth, recent programs which have featured what people think are attacks on Obama are actually attempts to poke fun and to cause people to stop and think about what the media has become.
concludes the promo feed. Production directors everywhere. Be with us next time as we make your life easier on the EIB network. Now, an official announcement by our dear leader, Barack Hussein Obama.
Every day, people all across America are spreading vicious stories and taking my name in vain. To get reelected, we must fight against the truth that blocks our way. That's why I created AttackWatch.com, a website devoted to shutting down the free expression of all subversive, counter-revolutionary ideas. A place where you can report those who spread rumors, nasty emails, and public utterances attacking me. If you love me, you'll turn in anyone engaged in these types of activity. Friends, family, associates, children, anyone.
If you're tired of hearing how President Obama single-handedly screwed up the economy, hijacked healthcare, mishandled foreign policy...
That's enough!
Drop the ball!
I'm turning you in!
Wanted old people to take a pill and die!
AttackWatch.com. We're watching you.
Now a message from President Barack Obama about today's ATF.
My fellow Americans, in the past, the ATF just regulated the sale of alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. Pretty boring. But under my administration, we've expanded their mandate to boost the nation's economy with cool new programs like Operation Fast and Furious, where we sold over 2,500 illegal firearms on the Mexican border in record time. Operation Blackout. To help sell new cars, we gave away free cases of liquor to anyone buying a government motors car with a DUI conviction and a suspended license. And Operation Puff More. We need a new generation of smokers to pay taxes. So we rewarded Atlanta school children for their good grades with a carton of smokes.
Today's modern Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. Who knows what they'll do next?
Holder, put that bottle down and leave that alone.
Whiskey in his tea. What's that stupid look they keep giving me? This is the craziest party there could ever be. Democrats go for Kerry when they could have had me. Mama told me not to run.
A precious few busy broadcast moments remaining on Friday, folks, so let's get started.
From sunny South Florida, it's Open Line Friday.
And telephone number is 800-282-2882. The email address, lrushbo@eibnet.com. And again, Open Line Friday differs from Monday through Thursday in that Monday through Thursday, when you call, you have to talk about something I care about, or you don't have a prayer of getting on this show. But on Friday, it doesn't matter whether I care about it or not. It's a golden opportunity for those of you. Talk about whatever you want. Ask whatever you want. Telephone number 800-282-2882. We just had in, look at this as Rush 101 today. Remedial rush. To bring up to speed those who are new arrivals to the program this week. And they are here in droves, in the millions. And we just had, in the last half hour, although I didn't call attention to it, but we nevertheless had a side-by-side illustration of socialism versus capitalism. On the one hand, you have the United States government, Barack Obama, via his energy chief who doesn't have a car, Stephen Chu. You know what this country needs is a good new light bulb, a green light bulb. That's what we need, a green light bulb, because we're destroying the planet with our regular light bulbs. And we are using too much coal, and we are wasting too much energy. Never mind how much coal is used in electric cars. But nevertheless, we are destroying the planet. We've got to get rid of oil. We have to become more responsible, Mr. Limbaugh, in the way we use our energy. So the government decides to bribe anybody with $10 million and come up with a replacement light bulb. An LED light bulb that can save America, that can save our electric consumption, can save the climate. 10 million. The Obama administration didn't wait for the market to create this because of need and desire and all the other human factors that go into making the market work. Nope, the regime didn't trust the market. Obama says the market won't do what's right. I am what's right. I know what's right. And it doesn't do it on its own. I'm going to have to command and control it. So here's this $10 million incentive, a prize. They called it the L prize, stands for ludicrous. And a company called Philips, for $10 million, invented a $50 light bulb for average Americans to save the planet and to go green. Shortly after that, we played sound bites from an incredulous Diane Sawyer and her reporterette on ABC about all the new billionaires on the Forbes list. Over 1,000 new billionaires. Not one of them, by the way, had invented a light bulb. Not one of them received a government grant. Not one of them was paid $10 million. That was the point of the story. ABC, Diane Sawyer, stunned that these people bootstrapped, she said, themselves to wealth. John Donvan, the Nightline reporter, said, yeah, well, what these billionaires mostly do is have money. So they got their snark in there. But it was pointed out, 1,000 some odd new billionaires utilizing the United States free market, capitalism. Obama wasn't involved. Obama had nothing to do with it. Democrat Party, as far as we know, had nothing to do with it. Side-by-side illustrations there, folks, of what is the better of the two. $10 million government prize, government involvement, command and control, create a light bulb. Here you go, $50. Requires a $45 tax credit to buy one. So I just wanted to point that out. Here's the story on the electric car. The $100,000 Fisker automotive luxury sports car called the Karma died during Consumer Reports speed testing this week for reasons that are still unknown, leaving the struggling electric car startup with another blow to its image. It's a little disconcerting. You pay that amount of money for a car. It lasts basically 180 miles before going wrong, said David Champion, the senior director for Consumer Reports Automotive Test Center. Fisker Karma, the name of the car, good for 180 miles, and then you're on your own. In a statement, Fisker said it was assessing the source of the problem that caused its Karma plug-in hybrid to fail. Fisker dispatched 2 engineers Wednesday night to examine the car. Fisker has benefited from the publicity generated when actor Leonardo DiCaprio was handed the first Karma last summer, and pop idol Justin Bieber received... Oh, they're giving these things away to actors. That's the marketing plan. Give them away. You will buy yours. The people who can already afford them will have them given to them. MSNBC. In nothing more than an advertisement for Obama's re-election masquerading as news. Headline, 1 in 4 kids live in families struggling with health care bills. No. When we think of the growing burden of paying for health care, we often think of older Americans struggling to pay for medicines and procedures that can become more prevalent as we age. But new data from the National Center for Health Statistics. We have a center for that? We have a whole center for health statistics? Can you imagine what a fun place that place is to work? The National Center for Health Statistics. New data from these people finds that children who are 17 and under are the most likely of any age group they studied to be living in a family that has recently had trouble affording their medical bills. Now, I know this might be news to the Obama regime, but we are in an economic recession here that was close to a depression. There is joblessness. There is homelessness. People are homeless having sex on the green there up in Connecticut. We don't know if they use contraceptives or not. So people are homeless, jobless, soon to be gasless. And they think that families are just having a hard time affording medical bills. People are having a hard time affording everything. And now they learn that they get to go out and buy $50 light bulbs and $100,000 electric cars that last 180 miles in testing. This data, released Wednesday by the government researchers, found that about 24% of children ages 17 and under are living in families had trouble paying their medical bills in the past year. By contrast, just about 10% of people who are 65 to 74 years old were living in a family that had problems paying medical bills in the past year. Can you say Medicare? And of course, elderly people are going to have more money than young people. They've lived longer. They've earned longer. And to the extent their kids aren't a bunch of slackers, they've been able to save more. Parents whose kids are a bunch of slackers are up a creek. Anyway, this whole story, 1 in 4 kids living in a family struggling with health care bills, it's a commercial for Obama. On the MSNBC website. Let's go to the audio sound bites. Jacob Tapper, our old buddy, Jake Tapper. ABC News. He may be in trouble today, folks, because all the good graces he found himself in the way he reported on me this week, he's now stepped in it. Last night on ABC's World News Tonight, he happened to report the truth. There was a new Obama re-election campaign documentary out there, The Road We Traveled. It's a film directed by an Inconvenient Truth director, Davis Guggenheim. And this Guggenheim guy, by the way, has said in all of his investigations, Dawn, look at it, he can't find one thing wrong with Obama. He's a perfect human being. I kid you not. Obama is perfect. The only thing that he could find, he told this to Piers Morgan on CNN, the only thing he could find that Obama had failed at was persuading more people to abandon their own political point of view and agree with him. Couldn't find anything wrong. A perfect individual. So Tapper is reporting on this documentary. And this is reporting. You hear Tom Hanks in here, and I guess Jacob Tapper basically reviewing it.
The inconvenient truth for President Obama is that with a current approval rating at below 50%, his odds of re-election are likelier if he makes the election not about him.
Do we look at the day's headlines, or do we remember what we as a country have been through?
The unemployment rate when President Obama took office was 7.8%. It went up to 10% and is now 8.3%. Gas prices when the president took office averaged $1.84 a gallon. It's now $3.79 a gallon.
I don't believe it.
And home values have gone down since the president took office.
I don't believe
There
this.
have been more than 2.8 million foreclosures under his watch. President Obama has his work cut out for him with the Democratic base. Compared to 4 years ago, Diane, Democrats are deflated and Republicans are much more enthusiastic about voting this November.
I don't know how Jake Tapper has a job today. You don't hear this kind of stuff from the drive-by media. Why? Some people you do now and then, just to create the illusion here that they are somewhat objective sometimes. But this is right on the money. True. All of these economic statistics, true. All the report on voter enthusiasm. Republicans far more enthusiastic than Democrats. True. And to say here, this documentary by this Guggenheim guy, Goebbels would not allow this one out. Goebbels would have not allowed this one out. None of these guys. Putin wouldn't let this one out. This is so one-sided that everybody rolls their eyes at it. And Jake Tapper says the inconvenient truth for Obama is that with a current approval rating below 50%, his odds of re-election are likelier if he makes the election not about him. And that's what he's not going to be able to do. The election will be about him. And that's where the enthusiasm on our side will come from, the election being about him. Don't doubt me on this. Now, I want to go back to me on this program. See, you people are very lucky. You get to listen to this program. You get to experience one of the greatest things in America, and that is listening to me on the radio. I never get to do that because I am me on the radio. And I mean, sometimes I listen to tapes of myself, but very, very rarely. But it's not the same as listening when you don't know what's coming. So it's one of life's pleasures I never get to experience, but you do. So occasionally I will go back and play tapes of me on this program to remind people of what I said. I want to go back to January 6th, talking about Mitt Romney and the establishment Republican thoughts, the opinions that they had about Romney as the only electable candidate. They really think Romney's the only guy that's electable because he's the most handsome and because he sounds the smartest. I mean, a lot of people on our side have really lowered their requirements this year. This is what I heard from my friends and people I know. The Romney was electable because the only guy that looked handsome and could speak. It has nothing to do with the way the media is going to treat him. Now, this was one of many times I made this observation. And you've heard it too, that we had to support Romney because he was electable. This is the only guy that can beat Obama. Again, I warn you, I've not chosen anybody, and this series of soundbites does not mean that I'm anti-Romney or pro-anybody else. That's not what this means. This stuff is all out there in the public square, so to speak. And I do love pointing out when I've been right about something. Now, when I was doubted at the time. So, just reminding you, Republican leadership, establishment, it's got to be Romney, because Romney's the only guy that can get elected. He's the guy that can save the House, maybe help us win the Senate. He's the only guy that can do that. Yesterday in Birmingham, Alabama, on the radio, Romney was interviewed. Question: how important is it for you, Governor Romney, to pick up a southern state?
I realize that it's a bit of an away game, but I also think we're gonna pick up some support in these in the states that remain this month. We're going to get some delegates. That's of course what this is all about.
He was trying to be funny there, saying that campaigning in Alabama is like an away game for him. That's like the drive-bys. We joke about them needing a visa to get into Missouri. Okay, so I admit, getting votes in the South for me, like it's an away game. And he get pummeled for this. I think he was trying to be funny. I think it's his I know. It's his way of trying to be creative with the way he speaks. But Thursday night in Pascagoula, Mississippi, the campaign event, former Governor Romney accepted the nomination of Governor Phil Bryant, and this is what he said.
He is now turning me into an unofficial Southerner, and I'm learning to say y'all, and I like grits, and strange things are happening to me.
Now, he's trying to be funny, but people are beating him up over this. He's turning me into, unofficial Southerner. I'm learning to say y'all, and I like grits, and so forth. This is his way of relating to people. He's not lording it over, but he's being pummeled for this. He being pummeled today, being out of touch and phony. Let me show you phony. Romney, this is just his way of connecting. He's just trying to connect to people here. He's trying to relate to, he's trying to be funny. He's trying to laugh at himself is what he's doing here, is being a little self-deprecating. But this is phoniness. This next night, this is a blatant, phony, classic illustration of arrogance on parade. Remember, this is John Kerry, who, by the way, served in Vietnam, the haughty John Kerry. October 2004 in Ohio, he walked into a sporting goods store and said,
"Can I get me a hunting license here?"
John Kerry, the Boston Brahmin, Mr. El Perfecto, Turnbull and Asser shirts. You know what distinguishes a Turnbull and Asser shirt? They have 3 buttons on the cuff. Takes you 3 times as long to get dressed. You have 3 buttons on the cuff. I've had one Turnbull and Asser shirt. At any rate, can I get me a hunting license here? He doesn't speak. He was not trying to be funny. He was actually speaking down to those people. Can I get me a hunting? That's how he really thinks. In Ohio, simply because they were hunters at a sporting goods. Can I get me a hunting license here? That's what they think.
Rush Limbaugh, pointing the way on the EIB network. What college do you dream of sending your kids to? Yale, Harvard, Princeton?
Forget it. Those are the universities of yesteryear. The school of the future is COC.
Community Organizer College.
I'm a graduate, and I just took control of General Motors. And now I'm thinking of taking over Chrysler, too. Maybe. Or selling it to an Italian bicycle company. I think.
Want your kids to run a giant company or even an entire industry like healthcare, banking, or insurance? Enroll him or her at COC, Community Organizer College.
Do you want your darlings to have trillions of dollars of money to spread around? Apply to Community Organizer College. Our teachings are based on a major breakthrough in education. It's not what you know, it's what people think you know.
At COC, Community Organizer College, we don't waste time teaching English, history, math, science, or business management.
We teach cool. We teach pompous. We teach teleprompter, doublespeak, seducing the media.
Community Organizer College.
Where your kids can learn to run a company or a country. Who knows? Maybe the entire planet.
Community Organizer College. Capacity is limited. Better act now. For an application, dial 1-800-ACORN-COC.
It's not what you know. It's what people think you know.
And now, Andy Griffith for Obamacare.
1965. A lot of good things came out that year, like Medicare. And now we got us Obamacare. And this year, just like always, you're going to have your guaranteed benefits right up until the time you get sick. So all you old angry white folks out there joining the tea parties and protesting and all, just calm down and be a good cracker. Good cracker. Tell them the new rules, Barney. Well, you see, it's like this. Here in Washington, everybody has to play by the rules. And we've developed a rule book just for you there at home. 62,528 new rules to help you through the process of healthcare in an orderly, organized fashion. Rule number 1. There are no peanut butter and jelly sandwiches allowed in any hospital day or night, 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Rule number 2. If any named insured of a qualified plan gets sick, he or she must fill out request form 24/7.
For more information on Obamacare and how it affects those 65 and older, just get sick and you'll find out. Capitol Records presents
I'm not going to play you the sound bites, but Mark Halper and some others. Oh, this Romney, he's really stepped in it now. I mean, it was bad enough when he said he likes to fire people, and it was bad enough when he said his wife drives 2 Cadillacs, but now he's really stepped in it. Listen, the Republican establishment are really, really nervous now. With all this talk about it being an away game, and he likes grits, and learn to say y'all. And I just, again, these double standards. They're doing a celebration today of the Selma March. And when they did this in 2008, 4 years ago, during the Democrat campaign, both candidates were there, Hillary and Obama. And Obama, who had nothing to do with Selma, probably couldn't find it on a map for the first 25 years of his life, talked about how what happened there made him who he is. And there was still talk in the LA Times, there was still talk in the left-wing media, well, Obama's not really authentic. He doesn't have slave blood. They said, not me. They said it. All this talk about authenticity. And then Hillary got up. Cookie, you don't need to get the soundbite. Hillary got up and said, I ain't no way, Todd. Remember that? And she was quoting James Cleveland, famous for saying the civil rights movement and all the strife and opposition, no, I don't feel no ways tired. I ain't no ways tired. So, once again, they can go out, they can do anything they want. They can laugh at, make fun of, they can appear foolish as they want. Romney was just trying to relate to these people. He keeps hearing he can't connect to people. He was just being convivial with them with that. He was not making fun of them, and he was not insulting anybody when he said what he said about grits.
And now, Andy Griffith for Obamacare.
1965. A lot of good things came out that year, like Medicare. And now we got us Obamacare. And this year, just like always, you're going to have your guaranteed benefits right up until the time you get sick. So all you old angry white folks out there joining the tea parties and protesting and all, just calm down and be a good cracker. Good cracker. Tell them the new rules, Barney. Well, you see, it's like this. Here in Washington, everybody has to play by the rules. And we've developed a rule book just for you there at home. 62,528 new rules to help you through the process of healthcare in an orderly, organized fashion. Rule number 1. There are no peanut butter and jelly sandwiches allowed in any hospital day or night, 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Rule number 2. If any named insured of a qualified plan gets sick, he or she must fill out request form 24/7.
For more information on Obamacare and how it affects those 65 and older, just get sick and you'll find out.
Now, an urgent message from Albert Gore Jr.
My fellow environmentalist, recently my purchase of carbon credits from a company I own to offset my personal carbon footprint has caused some to question my true beliefs in the cause of global warming. Rest assured that any profits from the credits I purchase to offset my energy use will be used toward the purchase of more energy, which will require me to purchase even more carbon credits. My computer models have shown this synergistic approach will cool the Earth 0.65 degrees by the year 2068. But to do it even faster, I need your help.
To help cool the Earth even faster, send a donation to the Albert Gore Jr. Utility Fund today and help Al purchase even more energy and more credits.
It's like the circle of life.
Is your terror cell living in terror?
Now this word from the New York Times to jihadists everywhere.
Is your safe house not that safe? If you want your sleeper cell to sleep safely, read the New York Times.
Jihadists everywhere depend on the New York Times.
I saved my sleeper cell thanks to the New York Times.
For information you can't get anywhere else.
Did you know your phone calls are traced? Did you know your money transfers are being intercepted?
Now, thanks to the New York Times, you will be safe and secure.
I rerouted my terror funds thanks to the New York Times.
From Tora Bora to Tijuana, terrorists everywhere depend on the New York Times.
Because you'll find all the secret stuff that makes news meaningful to you.
Plus, exciting bonus features.
Daily attacks on the infidels by Maureen O'Dowd and Paul Al Krugman and Tom Al Friedman. Not to mention the entire front page of our newspaper, which is daily attacks on the infidels.
Gift subscriptions available.
We offer at the New York Times quantity discounts for large terror cells, educational discounts for madrasas and terrorist training camps. Read the New York Times and your sleeper cell can sleep safely.
Even in the deepest, darkest cave, you'll be the first to get inside knowledge of what the infidels have in mind to wipe you out.
New York Times, The Infidels Jihad Journal. It's Open Line Friday. Back to the phones we go to Oakland, California. I don't know who this is. Sean. Oh, there he is. Sean, great. Hi, how are you, sir?
I'm doing just fine, sir. How are you?
Very well, thanks.
It's a pleasure to speak with you. I am 24 years old. I was born and raised here in the Bay Area in California, where I'm sure you know conservative is a bad word. And I spent my whole life, here under the shroud of what we were told and where I was raised. And I left high school when I was 16 years old, spent a couple of years in youthful misadventures, but now I'm back working full-time, paying my way through college, and I'm getting educated. And the more that I get educated, the more I see how much that we've been lied to. So I'm calling you, because now that my local Fox station has been reformatted, I get you in the afternoons. I'm calling you to say thank you and to let you know that I've been invited by the California Patriot, which is the UC conservative newspaper, to submit an article on anything that I please. And I'm going to focus my article on media bias to the liberal side, which is where it really is. I see recently that the media has managed to target you to try and discredit the entire Republican Party. And we're going into this election just like we went into the last one without, we take everything that, or the media takes everything that Barack Obama says at face value and vets to the deepest degree everything that any Republican candidate says. Well, Obama just gets away with anything he likes. Obama started lying to people before he even got the election.
Sean, let me ask you a couple.
Nobody bats an eye at it. Yes, sir.
Let me ask you a couple questions here.
Okay.
Have you written your piece yet?
No, I have not.
Okay.
I'm working on it.
Okay. Good. Let me ask you, you are starting to see the injustice or the inequity or the unfairness, whatever, however you would describe this bias, media bias, and so forth.
Absolutely.
Now,
before I start the question, I need one thing you have to realize here. An informed electorate, like you're awakening, that's the worst nightmare the Democrat Party could have. They require on people being dumbed down to levels of profound ignorance. So my question, you mentioned that you have seen me under attack.
Yes.
Why? You said it was to discredit the whole Republican Party.
Well, that's conjecture. That's my opinion. That's what it seems like.
No, I'm not arguing with you about that. What my question is, you're a consumer. You're starting to write a paper. You're college age, recently out of college, you're still there. You're just now starting to have all this stuff come into focus. So you're out there watching all this. You're hearing it all. What do you think is the reason they're doing this? Why do they attack me in order to try to discredit the Republican Party? What is their purpose in that? Or why do they have to do that, do you think?
Well, I think it's a problem with my generation. We generally are distrustful of government, but we've been raised in a society that is insanely media saturated. And in order to reach us, they have figured out that that's their only hope. Is if they broadcast on every single news network. I mean, save for Fox. Fox is the only news network that does any alternative investigation into anything.
Well,
that is their only way to reach us. And if every single news outlet...
The answer to the question is very simple. The reason they have to try to discredit me one day, Sarah Palin the next day, whoever it is because they can't. They can't persuade you to join them by telling you how wonderful or how right or how good they are. They have to...
They have to tear the Republicans, the right wing, the conservatives down. The conservatives, we're racist, we're intolerant, we're closed-minded, we're stuck in the past, we're all these things. And they tout, I mean, I don't know what they tout. They just try to tear the conservatives to pieces in order to discredit them, to make fear...
They don't tout anything. That's my whole point, Sean. What they tout, you are supposed to infer. They can't tell you how great their economic policies are. They can't tell you how great their social programs are because they're an abysmal failure. The war on poverty, the Great Society, they are destroying. Their policies have destroyed the social fabric and the culture of this country. They can't sing their own praises. All they can do is lie to you about people who oppose them and intimidate you into not becoming one of those enemies because this could happen to you. What they're doing to Palin, you don't want to be on their bad side. What they're doing to me, it's fear, Sean. It's fear. They have nothing positive to say. And in the process, this for your paper, in the process, what they're really telling you is what they do fear. I mean, Sean, I'm a guy on the radio. What can I do? I can't raise anybody's taxes. I can't send anybody off to war. I can't force anybody to go out and buy a $50 light bulb. I can't make anybody give up their car and buy an electric car. I can't make anybody do anything. And yet, I have to be destroyed. There's a reason for it, and that's because I'm an effective critic of who they are. And that has to be shut down with character assassination or some of that's why this is done. They have to clear the playing field. You hear them talk about wanting a level playing field. They don't want a playing field. They don't want anybody on the playing field with them. Nothing level about it. They have to rid the field of opposition. There is no compromise with them, Sean. There is no walking across the aisle and getting along with them. They will never compromise a damn thing they believe in. There is that's a one-way street. I hope you have the fortitude to hang in. You must, because you have been your whole life out there in the Bay Area as a conservative. Look, Obama's first words with his first 2 weeks in the White House, he brings a congressional leadership up. Sean, this is 3 years ago. He brings a congressional leadership up to the Oval Office, and he says to John Boehner and the guy, don't listen to Rush Limbaugh anymore. That's not how things get done here. His first words. to the Republican leadership after he became president. So it's all about silencing and intimidating critics into shutting up. And when you don't, they keep coming at you, pure and simple. So welcome to the club. Happy to have you on the team, and let them have it. Don't let them take one thing away from you. Glad you called. Open Line Friday. A brief timeout. We'll be back and continue with much more right after this.
Why are they so afraid of him? Why?
Rush Limbaugh on the EIB Network. Welcome to How Gullible Are You? Now, with today's questions, here's your genial host, Rush Limbaugh.
Did you believe Bill Clinton when he said, "I did not have sex with that woman, not a single time, ever. I never asked anybody to lie"? Did you believe Bill Clinton? Did you believe Bob Torricelli when he denied all the things he had to leave the Senate for? Did you believe David Axelrod when he said Obama and Blagojevich discussed his Senate replacement? Did you believe Obama's Axelrod when he said he misspoke about Obama and Blagojevich having that discussion? Did you believe Jesse Jackson Jr. when he said he met with Blagojevich for 90 minutes and pay to play never came up? When Obama said things will get better, did he mean it? Or did he misspeak?
Now, let's see how you scored with How Gullible Are You?
If you answered yes to all five, you are a liberal for life, or you are a drive-by journalist. If you answered yes to two or three of these questions, you are a moderate. And there remains hope for you if you remain a regular attendee at classes here at the Limbaugh Institute. If you answered no to all five, you are grounded in reality and are thus cursed, because you will be forever hounded, frustrated, and driven to near insanity by the gullible who did pass this test.
Join us next time for How Gullible Are You? This has been an EIB production. Want to lead an environmentally friendly lifestyle, but your SUV and powerboat get in the way? Introducing the EIB Carbon Credit Card. With the EIB Carbon Credit Card, for every dollar you spend on yourself, an equal amount is spent on holistic carbon set-off projects, like planting trees along the border with Mexico, to reforest the Southwest, and create an impassable barrier.
We're lost, amigos. Let's go home.
You can be part of creating kelp farms in the ocean, teaching dolphins to feed penguins, harnessing the rays of the sun to power a windmill. And best of all, the EIB Carbon Credit Card isn't just for people like you. It's also great for governments, too. Go ahead, buy a half-decaf cafe latte and comfort a whale. Buy a sweater and send life-saving ice to a polar bear cub. Or send up the space shuttle and reforest New Mexico. You can save the Earth with the new EIB Carbon Credit Card. Do you suffer from affluenza, an affliction unique to America's high achievers?
Hey, nice car. I don't deserve it. I'm just one of the lucky ones who took out student loans and went to night schools. I worked hard nights and weekends, and then all of a sudden, 20 years later, I'm president of the company.
That's when affluenza strikes.
I'm so ashamed. Gee, I'm sorry.
Fortunately, there is a simple cure for affluenza. Listen to Rush Limbaugh 3 hours a day, every day.
Is there a radio in this car? Why?
And the debilitating symptoms of affluenza will vanish like magic.
I think there's somebody you should listen to.
Listen to Rush Limbaugh every day for fast, effective relief of common affluenza. And continue to listen to prevent reoccurrence. Common side effects include increased alertness, a swelling of the bank account, marked improvement of your golf swing, and a heightened appreciation of fine cigars. Rush Limbaugh, the cure for common affluenza.
Bracket picks. Final four in New Orleans again at the end of this month. Non-stop college basketball games this weekend and next. And it all reminds us March Madness is here again. But, folks, there's a different kind of March Madness going on in our nation this month, too. It's the continuation of a smear campaign against us who are conservative. And it's been going on for some time. Not just this past week. It's been going on for years. It just continues into March. You remember when patriotic Americans spoke out against the $16 trillion debt ceiling, the debt ceiling increase? People were outraged over the way that all came out. The House representative referred to those that objected as terrorists, as if to think reducing our nation's debt was a bad thing for the country. There were Republicans that wanted, what is the purpose of a debt limit? You don't exceed it. And every 6 months we come along, we got to raise the debt limit. No, it's there for a reason. You stay underneath it. There's no discipline whatsoever. People said this. They called whoever it was, I forget the man's name, member of Congress, called him a terrorist. Trying to frighten the American people into thinking their government was going to shut down. Now, since when does wanting a balanced budget, getting government spending under control, mean that you are a terrorist? Well, in this modern era, where the American left has no moral core, anything's fair game. And if you agree, I'm sure a fair number of you do, then I would encourage you to educate yourself on this and other outrageous statements about the economy, about America, about you and I. You've just had a taste of this. If this has been your first exposure to what the left is capable of, categorizing people correctly, you need to visit a website. Heritage Foundation has put it out called StopLiberalMadness.com. Go there right after the program. StopLiberalMadness.com. Find out exactly what all these radical leftists are saying and for how long they've been. So find out what is their just common, ordinary, everyday dialogue that comes out of their mouths. We don't have enough time left here today, but the stuff's all there at StopLiberalMadness.com. Go check it out. Remember, we're doing Rush 101 today, remedial rush to recognize all the new arrivals who are here out of curiosity and trying to catch you up to speed on how we do what we do here as quickly as possible. And this is a great way. Visit StopLiberalMadness.com right after the program and find out how common this kind of stuff actually is. Larry in South Hackensack, New Jersey, welcome to the EIB Network. Great to have you with us, sir.
Thank you very much, Rush. Thank you for having me.
You bet, sir.
Our company, newcandescent.com, manufactures incandescents right here in the U.S. We have apples to zebras, everything that you can't get, we have permission to manufacture. Right here in the good old USA.
What do you mean, everything that we can't get?
All of the banned incandescent lamps that...
Oh, you mean the stuff that's been banned? The stuff that's been banned you're making?
We're making it legally. We have permission from the DOE to manufacture the products.
So you got a waiver from somebody to go ahead and manufacture the stuff?
Yes, we do.
From who?
The Department of Energy.
Really? Why did it?
Yeah. Well, what they did was when they changed the energy laws, in it they left one of the categories open, which was called rough service category. And what they did was they changed all of the old specifications concerning how the lamp was constructed, and they came out with a whole new guideline how to manufacture the lamps, which we took up. We bought the old equipment that the major manufacturers were getting rid of, GE and Philips and all those people, and we started manufacturing with their sanction. We met all of the guidelines, and they gave us permission to manufacture the lamps here.
How many others like you across the fruited plain have been given similar waivers?
Only one other.
Can you manufacture enough to meet the demand of customers who don't want to make the move to compact fluorescent or these $50 things?
Absolutely. And we've been written up in the New York Post, and
Yeah, I know who you are. Yeah, I know who you are now. I know your last name. Now, Larry, let me ask you a question. The American people are under the impression that starting next year, or maybe it's already this year sometime, that the stuff you're talking about having permission to make is illegal. It's been banned.
Not so. That's not true.
There is no light bulb.
It's true that they stopped making them, but we can continue to manufacture them. And we are right now.
No, but most people think that it's going to be illegal to buy them. That's why they're out hoarding them.
No, it's not illegal to buy them. Let me say this. What they banned was general service light bulbs. That's the type of light bulbs that you would use in your house, that you would buy in maybe a convenience store, big box retailer, hardware store. That's what they banned. What they left open, the category is called rough service, which is a hardier version of the original general service.
But but you can still use your stuff in a home, right? Not just in industry.
Yes, absolutely. You can use it either in the home or in industry or wherever, but mostly for the home. All of the banned, reflectors, we're manufacturing all of those.
Dimmers, that kind of thing. Your bulbs can.
Well, yeah, they're all dimmable. They're all made in the U.S. There's no chemicals in them as far as mercury. They can be disposed of just like you disposed of the other one. It's exactly what everybody was used to. And again, they're made in the U.S.
So,
which is a big plus.
So, just so I understand, rough service is what's been outlawed?
No, general service.
General service. So rough service is what's still legal.
That's totally legal, but they had to be redesigned. The product had to be redesigned. And not only did it have to be redesigned, but you also had to apply to the Department of Energy, which is the DOE, for permission to make it, and which we did, and we got the permission.
Okay, so how does everybody else get your stuff, Larry? I mean, everybody's under the impression that we're going to go out and buy these spaghetti light bulbs. Where are yours going to be on sale?
We're selling them right now in retail stores, or you can go to newcandescent.com and you can buy it online.
New Incandescent.
No. New Candescent.
Newcandescent.com. It's a new sponsor, by the way, here on the EIB. Newcandescent.com.
That's correct, newcandescent.com.
All right. And 250 watts, 200 watts, 100 watts, what's up?
We have them go from 15 watts all the way up to 1,000 watts.
My prayers have been answered.
And we also have a full line of the reflectors.
Cool.
Both the BR40.
I got to run. I'm out of time. But I wasn't going to put that spaghetti stuff in my house. I was going to do candles if I had to. I wasn't going to do it.
Somebody has to have the guts to say it. Rush on the EIB Network. Eight years after going to work for then-Governor George W. Bush, 6 years after he started working at the White House, and 2 years after being out of work with no prospect of employment, Scott McClellan now says he felt compelled to speak out for the first time in his new book, Whatever Happened to Scott McClellan.
I just remembered that things were really bad at the White House, and I think speaking out can make a difference.
This red-hot blockbuster is full of secret personal insights from Scott, like
we need to move beyond the bitter partisanship of Washington politics and just roll over.
Find out what was really going on with Karl Rove and Scooter Libby.
I was kept out of the loop by Karl and Scooter, who went behind closed doors to laugh at me behind my back.
Discover who was really behind the CIA leak.
Richard Armitage? No, I've never heard of him.
Critics are raving about Whatever Happened to Scott McClellan. I couldn't have written it better myself, says Anita Hill. So believable. I sent one to my pastor, says Barack Obama. And George Soros says,
Forget MoveOn.org.
This is the best money I've ever invested.
Whatever happened to Scott McClellan? From Lefty Press and bookstores today, in flea markets tomorrow. New from Capitol Records, Fritz Hollings.
There's corruption everywhere out there.
And James Carville.
That's right. Corruption at the highest level.
Too much corrupting going on out there.
Dueling Bozos.
We all know what's causing it.
Hollings and Carville together for the first time.
So much corrupting going on there, and it's even corrupted me.
Singing the only tune they know.
Yeah, everybody's guilty. I mean, come on.
Nothing we can do about it, no matter where we go. We go to breakfast, we go to Wednesday afternoon square dances.
We need to change the law.
I never even knew the word exacerbate until I came to Washington. I went down to that barbecue.
Wasn't that in the Star Report?
Why was LBJ here? Who the hell cares anymore anyway? All I know is that it was corrupt then and it's exacerbating now.
Yeah, all they're out there doing is talking about Buddhist monks.
They found this woman guilty. Guilty of what?
So what are you doing about it?
So what am I doing? I'm trying to pass a constitutional amendment to make sure that nobody give any money to politicians.
Especially politicians that fly the confetti flag.
I flew that flag, I flew it proudly.
That the
as far as I'm concerned, George Bush is the one that explained it. That's how out of whack it is. It's so corrupt, so exacerbating that a breach truck had to bring in a pork flowing barbecue with a bunch of contributors and nobody who never met. Until we get going,
circles that Capitol building from day to day after day.
Nothing is going to get
Dueling Bozos. Available wherever this record is sold. What better gift for the
Well, another exciting excursion into broadcast excellence in the can. Another exciting week of broadcast excellence in the can. Hope you have a great weekend, folks. Again, a reminder, I'm out Monday playing in a charity golf tournament, an annual thing that I do every year here in March. Mark Stein will be here on Monday, and we will be back ready to kick it up again on Tuesday. Same time, same place, all these stations. Look forward to seeing you then, and thanks for being with us all week. Really appreciate it.